Happy New Year, everyone. From Cleveland, Ohio, CBS Sports presents the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Cleveland Browns. With Solomon Wilcots, Kevin Harlan, 40 degrees, and the temperature is dropping rapidly. Gusts over 30 miles an hour, rain, snow, and a constant wind throughout the day for the Pittsburgh Steelers, with the New England Patriots winning earlier. Number 2 seed if they win, and Baltimore would lose. They would be at number 5 if they lose, and Baltimore would defeat Cincinnati. So a lot on the line still in terms of seeding for a lot of teams in the AFC. Sean Sweezum will be kicking off to Joshua Cribbs. Cribbs, one of the top 5 kick return men in the NFL. This kick will be going with the wind, and the ball is just blown off the tee. Roethlisberger will be starting today for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are going for win number 12. They had 12 wins a season ago. Solomon, this is the second time these two teams have met. Back in early December, it was a Pittsburgh 14-3 win on a Thursday night in Pennsylvania.
And regardless of their records, Kevin, the Pittsburgh Steelers know that they bring out the best in the Cleveland Browns. Remember, these two teams, they do not like one another. Been playing in the same division for quite a time.
Steelers and Browns, and away we go in Cleveland, Ohio. Cribbs will let it fly out of the end zone, so a touchback. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Cleveland quarterback today, who will be Seneca Wallace, who gets his final instructions from the side. He's making his 3rd consecutive start, replacing Colt McCoy. McCoy is out with a concussion he suffered on that first game they played between these two back in early December.
Yeah, Seneca Wallace, when you talk to the Pittsburgh Steelers, what he brings to the table, he's much more mobile than Colt McCoy. They want to contain him in the pocket, not allow him to get out and make big plays.
On the 20-yard line, 1st down and 10. And Peyton Hillis will try to get a couple of yards. And at the bottom of the pile, Ferrier on a gain of a yard to the 21 on that offensive line for Cleveland. Left tackle Joe Thomas going to his 5th consecutive Pro Bowl. As good as it gets at that position in the AFC. We just saw running back Peyton Hillis. He's coming off his first 100-yard game last week, running against the Baltimore Ravens. It is 2nd down and 9. Thomas the block. Timmons will get the sack. Bringing him down. Loss of 2. Lawrence Timmons, his 2nd sack of the season. Pushing back to about the 19-yard line on that line. 10-year veteran defensive end Brett Kiesel having perhaps his best season in the NFL. Linebacker Jason Worrells replaces Lamar Woodley. Woodley missing his 6th game in the last 8 with a severe hamstring injury. And in the secondary, Ike Taylor is the number 1 corner in the number 1 secondary in the NFL. It is 3rd down and 11 to go. Wallace to Cribbs with the hit across the way by Keenan Lewis. He'll be perhaps a little bit shy of the 1st down. Very close, picks up 10 on the play, but because of the sack, they're going to have to punt.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are very good in forcing you in 3rd and long to have to drive the ball past the 1st down sticks. And if you risk by putting this ball in harm's way, going towards Troy Polamalu, that's a risky throw by Seneca Wallace. Nonetheless, not good enough for a 1st down, even though it was completed.
Antonio Brown, the 9th-rated punt return man in the NFL, getting this punt from Brad Maynard, who's had a sensational season. This is into the wind. It will be fair caught at the 33-yard line for the Pittsburgh Steelers on a punt of 38 yards. Here we go. Quarterback Ben Roethlisberger will start despite that high ankle sprain that Solomon kept him out last week against St. Louis. He told us last night he's about 60% right now.
Yeah, he said he was about 40% a couple of weeks ago when he played against the San Francisco 49ers. Turned the ball over frequently. Had to prove to the coaches this week in practice that he could make plays while on the move. And while he's only 60%, he was convincing enough in practice to get the start to that.
Well, a lot of things going on here statistically. Roethlisberger can reach 4,000 yards. Mendenhall can get over 1,000 on the ground. Hines Ward can get 1,000 reception in his career. Here's a 1st and 10, and here is Ward. Dropped. That would be a fumble. I call it incomplete pass. Ward dropped it. It was picked up by Max Starks, as you saw, but it's incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Pro Bowl center Marquise Pouncey is back after missing the last 2 games with an ankle injury himself. By the way, Kimiatu is starting at left guard today. Wide receiver Mike Wallace was voted a Pro Bowl starter this week. He is closing in on 1,000 receiving yards. Everywhere you look for the Steelers, one weapon after another. 2nd down and 10. And there's this Mendenhall grabbed on the play by Chris Gokong. There is no gain. They stay at the 34. The Cleveland Brown defense on that line. Sheard has had a great year as a rookie with 7 sacks. At Phil Taylor, he's a rookie as well. Linebacker Daquell Jackson, one of the top candidates for comeback player of the year in the NFL. A sensational season. And Mike Adams leads the Cleveland secondary with 3 interceptions. 3rd and 10 after a 3-and-out by the Browns. Roethlisberger, the wind at his back. And he is looking for and missing with a flag thrown, Emmanuel Sanders. He's been out the last 3 games with an injury. He's had a problem with his foot. He was covered on the play by Dimitri Patterson.
Holding number 24. Defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Terrible play by Sheldon Brown, who's today playing in his 160th consecutive game.
The Cleveland Browns defensively, they don't expect Ben Roethlisberger being less than 100% to be as mobile to extend plays. You could see Sheldon Brown continuing to hold on. There are a couple of guys, I think, holding on to receivers on the back end, but when they are forced to have to cover longer, I think there was a sense of panic that set in on Sheldon Brown. They're expecting the ball to come out much quicker today from Ben Roethlisberger.
He's a 10-year veteran, too. 1st and 10. Mendenhall. Following a block up there by Ramon Foster. Runs out about 4, is to the 43-yard line. Welcoming our new audience, we find the Cleveland Browns getting 3 and out with the punt. It is 2nd down and 6. Second down and 6. A lot going on in the NFL today. We plan to go to New York after this play if we get a chance and give you an update on what's going on. As Roethlisberger's got it at his own 43. And the catch right there by Hines Ward. Gain of 5 to the 48 as we take you to our CBS studios and James Brown.
Watch Ray Rice loosen up on this.
And trying to hold on to the number 2 spot in the AFC playoffs. Here comes Ray Rice on their first series. What a way to start the game. 70 yards, 7-0. Baltimore over Cincinnati.
Baltimore still in the running for the number 1 seed, but they got to do it.
Rice is the engine for that offense in Baltimore.
Oh, they came out and serving notice in Cincinnati are the Baltimore Ravens.
Redmond in the backfield, 3rd down and 1. Isaac Redmond bouncing and getting the first down. Young was there on the stop along with Adams. It's a gain of 12. Jackson makes the hit for the Cleveland Browns to the 39.
With Ben Roethlisberger hobbled, you're going to see a trio of running backs. One, Isaac Redmond, breaking into that Cleveland Browns secondary. He'll be teamed with Clay and Mendenhall. You know, Mike Tomlin employing his group saying we're going to have to win in a grimy fashion. That means slug it out against a really good Cleveland Brown defense that's given up a lot on the ground this season.
Browns will have 6 in the secondary. Here's a 1st and 10 from the Cleveland 39. Incomplete. As they were going on the play for Wallace. Coverage by Brown. First-year coach Pat Shurmur is leading this Cleveland team 4-11 coming into today.
Pat Shurmur, he wants his defense obviously to come up with some turnovers, create a short field for an offense that has been struggling to put points on the board. Cleveland Browns come in today's game averaging just over 13 points per game.
Cleveland has had 2 consecutive 5-11 finishes. If they win today, that's what they would finish at. 2nd down and 10. Mendenhall Block up ahead there by David Johnson. And he works his way into the grasp of DeQuell Jackson. It's a gain of 7. He's to the 32. Well, the AFC playoff picture is a little bit unsettled, obviously.
Except for the New England Patriots with a win over Buffalo, claiming that #1 seed. If Baltimore can win in Cincinnati, they would win the AFC North Division title and claim the #2 seed. Both would have a bye week in the playoffs.
Redmond is in 3rd and 3 from the 32. Out of harm's way, got by DeQuell Jackson, throws incomplete. A hand on it from Dimitri Patterson. May have been going for Kotchery, incomplete pass.
Take a look at this. Now, I think Ben could have escaped here for a first down, but he doesn't trust that ankle. Now, in normal circumstances, he would not have attempted to throw that ball late over the middle of the field. With so much green grass to his right, tells you he's less than 100%. What did he tell us, Kevin? He can't put weight on his toes. It's very painful to do that. Clearly turning down the opportunity to run for a first down.
I don't know what you think about this green grass. It looks a little brown to me. Actually, for Cleveland, Ohio here, first of the year, not too bad. 4th and 3. Gilbert had a nice block at the right tackle. That's incomplete for Redmond. With the coverage by the linebacker, DeQuell Jackson. So on downs, Pittsburgh has to give it back to the Browns. 9:07 in the first. 25-mile-an-hour wind. Are you surprised Pittsburgh didn't try for 3 as opposed to going for it on 4th and 3?
Well, they had the play. The opportunity was there, just didn't execute. Probably just as difficult to execute negotiating that ball through the uprights with this one.
Timmons has already had a sack for that Pittsburgh D. 1st and 10. They turn it over on downs. 32-yard line, and look at that.
Oh, wow.
Polamalu comes in and just completely stops that play. A loss of 3, a sack for Troy Polamalu, who gets his 2nd sack of the season, getting Seneca Wallace.
Well, he shoots the A-gap. Look at him come right here. Times it up perfectly as only Troy Polamalu can. Great instincts. And Casey Hampton and the other defensive line, they can't believe that Troy Polamalu has already made penetration into the Browns' backfield.
Here's a 2nd and 13 for Seneca Wallace into the wind. And looking for Cribbs. And the coverage across the way by William Gay. 3rd and 13 for Cleveland. Some of our earlier headlines today, Cleveland watching all these different games. The Patriots, of course, winning today. And they were down early, 17-0 to the Buffalo Bills.
But they secure the home field advantage. How about the Indianapolis Colts? They lose in Jacksonville and secure the #1 pick in the 2012 draft. Let the discussion for Andrew Luck begin in Indianapolis. And then the Jets losing in Miami, eliminated from the playoffs.
6 in the secondary, 3rd and 13. Wallace hit. That is the tight end, Evan Moore, knocked down on the play by James Ferrier. It is a pickup of 8, shy of the first down. Another 3 and out for the Cleveland offense.
Yeah, 3 and out on their first 2 possessions for the Cleveland Browns. They will find Evan Moore, but by forcing this Cleveland Brown offense into 3rd long, Pittsburgh will come with the exotic zone blitz schemes, and they will give you that early completion underneath, but they're not going to allow you to catch it and run and hit the sticks for a first down.
Maynard will punt, and Antonio Brown, who got the MVP this week for this Pittsburgh ball club, is back to retrieve it. And a good-looking punt. He has not had a touchback all season until right there. He's had 77 punts. That's his first touchback. That was a 63-yarder, 7:49 in the first. 2 Cleveland 3 and outs. Pittsburgh lost it on downs as they went for it on 4th and 3 with Solomon Wilcott's Kevin Harlan. Steelers obviously with a lot going on here in terms of seeding in the AFC.
Yeah, Kevin, and they want to get off to a fast start here in Cleveland. They understand that if they don't get points early, that this game could become very grimy, just the way that the Cleveland Browns would like it. Ben Roethlisberger, Mike Tomlin wanting to get this offense off to a very fast start. And with Hines Ward just a few catches shy of becoming the 8th player in NFL history with 1,000 catches, they come out with the first play designed to get him the ball, and he drops it. It's been that way for Pittsburgh on that first possession.
So after the punt, touchback to the 20. First down and 10 yards to go for Roethlisberger. Mendenhall. And was tripped up on the play by Mayava. It is a catch and run of 7 yards, and he's up to the 27-yard line.
Just a drop back pass. They're going to allow the underneath coverage to clear out, dump it off to Mendenhall. Hopefully he could shake someone to create a first down there, creating yards after the catch. But the linebackers respond and rally and get the tackle and creating a second and third situation for Pittsburgh.
Like 80!
Steelers had it the first time, 9 plays, washed it on down. Second down, 3. Jaquel Jackson with the stop defensively. A gain of 2, and they'll spot him near the 28-yard line.
This Cleveland Brown defense, we talk about how much they've improved under Dick Duran. This is the area where they've been lacking, that the ability to stop the run as they stuff Rashard Mendenhall there. They've given up 100 yards in 13 of their 15 games this year. Dick Duran, that's the area where they want to improve. The run defense, because all other areas they've been very good on the defensive side of the ball.
Third down and 1. Redmond is in and gets the call. Boy, not a lot right there. Brian Schaefering is in the middle. And a 2-yard gain to the 31. They get the first to New York in James Brown.
Detroit trying desperately to hold to the 5th seed.
Solly, I would hate to be a DB in this game. 12 yards to Tony Scheffler, Matthew Stafford, 5 TDs on the game, 41st TD pass of the season. First time in NFL history, both quarterbacks have thrown for over 400 yards and 5 touchdown passes in a game.
Solly might be breathing hard in this one, Boomer. Kevin and Solomon.
That's right. Where's the oxygen? But that Green Bay Packer defense normally come up with those interceptions.
They usually do. Redmond in, first and 10. It's thrown at the feet of Heath Miller. Well, tonight, a lot going on, of course. That means for fantasy players, too. If you thought the fantasy season was over, it's not. Play NFL.com Playoff Challenge today. You could win a trip to Super Bowl 47 in New Orleans. Sign up for free at NFL.com/fantasy. A lot of teams in the championship division. Finding out where they finish the season. Of course, then the playoffs come. We'll find out tonight where the teams are going to be and who they're going to play. Second down and 10. Mendenhall. Little lead block there by Ramon Foster. Working his way to the 39. That's an 8-yard run by Mendenhall.
Kevin, I thought Ben Roethlisberger would have to get off to a very fast start, completing passes, but early incompletions on the first and then second possessions of the game. And because he didn't get off to a good start, no points to show. 2 for 7 to start today's game. And as the weather is cold, that ankle begins to stiffen up. Have to wonder how long they'll leave him in the game. That's why they want to get points out of Ben and his offense in the early going today.
Transic's playing the left guard. Third down and 3. 6 in the secondary. Underneath, Redmond slipping his way up to the 48-yard line, hit by Osama Young and others on that defense. It's a catch and run of 9. It is another first down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Screen was there too.
Yeah, we talked to the Pittsburgh Steelers about scoreboard watching, how you have to go out and take care of your business today. Ben Roethlisberger talked about it. You can't help but understand or know if you're Mike Tomlin. Did the New England Patriots win? Yes, they did. And right now, Baltimore is up 10-0 on Cincinnati. That's going to tell him as to whether or not he can give guys like Ben Roethlisberger a rest today.
Mendenhall. Following his blocking. Mayava brings him down near the 45-yard line. It is a gain of 8 on the play as we go back to New York and James Brown.
Oakland trying to get to the postseason, Boom.
Well, they have to win and Denver has to lose. The only way they can get in, Carson Palmer to Darius Hayward-Bay from Maryland, I might add. 3-yard touchdown pass. They take the early lead on the San Diego Chargers, 7-0.
That's a start on the right foot, Kevin, and solid.
Hayward-Bay has had a career year. He was a high pick out of Maryland and number 7 a couple years ago.
Carson Palmer's been a godsend to many of those wide receivers in Oakland.
And then all back there, second down and 2. And pummels his way in. Well, Jackson among a couple to make the stop. Gain of 5. down to the 40-yard line. Also, Gokong was right there. Redmond, by the way, in this game has already had 3 third-down conversions for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, we told you this Cleveland Browns defense has struggled all season long to stop the run. We have big backs running the ball for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mendenhall goes 225, but only gets bigger from there because Redmond goes 230. We've seen John Clay rush for his first touchdown last week. He's 6'1", 250. So this Browns defense really has their work cut out.
Ninth play of the drive. Redmond is in. First down and 10. Redmond is wrapped up quickly that time with Osama Young coming through, the former New Orleans Saint defensive back. Loss of 3, back to the 43.
When you're struggling to stop the run, sometimes you have to blitz. So you come off the corner, see if you can get an extra defender there, unblocked. Osama Young comes off the corner, makes the tackle in the backfield on Redmond. So Dick Duran designing other ways to be able to stuff this Pittsburgh Steelers running game.
Young has been starting for the injured T.J. Ward. For the defensive coordinator, Dick Duran. Second down and 13. Coming through Taba Rubin. He had a sack last week against Baltimore. He's had his 5th sack recorded right there. Throwing Roethlisberger for a loss of 9, back to the 48.
Yeah, they simply bring more. Look at Chris Gokon, 51, he comes. And Taba Rubin, you see Pouncey, 53, comes out on Gokon. As he turns out, Rubin comes underneath to get the sack. So Marquise Pouncey, who's also less than 100% playing with a bad ankle, doesn't block Rubin, who was lined up right over the top of him.
His 37th consecutive start today on that defensive line. Here's a 3rd and 22. They need the Cleveland Browns 30. Wind at his back. Slings a pass which may have been deflected on the play by Buster Screen. Looking downfield for Antonio Brown. It's incomplete. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have got a punt.
And Ben Roethlisberger, watch this one. Movement, then he reloads and fires away. Ball nearly intercepted by Screen right there. And that, if you're Ben Roethlisberger, he throws it as hard as he could, but still that ball was almost intercepted and tipped by 2 defenders.
Campanel's to punt. Josh Cribbs will watch this baby kick in. Oh, it was great English by Campanos. It will be down at about the 2. How about that? Great English, 49-yard, well-placed punt. Browns will be marooned with 1:14 to play in the first.
Kevin, as we return to Cleveland, take a look at how the season has gone for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They started out with a Week 7 win over the New England Patriots. Ben Roethlisberger played phenomenally well. Then in Weeks 1 and 9, remember, they lost to a divisional opponent, the Baltimore Ravens, which gave them control of the division. Roethlisberger did not play well in those 2 games and then was knocked out in the Week 14 contest against the Cleveland Browns. They end up winning the game. And, of course, the #1 ranked defense, as usual, with Dick LeBeau. They're playing stellar defense in Pittsburgh, and that's been par for the course since he arrived.
Obanaya is in the backfield, but here is a handoff on 1st down and 10 from the 4 after a nice Pittsburgh punt. There is Harrison working around. It was a gain of 2 on the play. The tackle was made by Timmons, and Hillis ran for the 2.
As you take a look at Harrison, we were talking about Dick LeBeau, this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. They've been ranked top 5 in total defense in each of the last 4 years. They come in today's game ranked #1 overall.
Obanaya is out. Marisek is coming as the fullback. 2nd down and 8. Ooh, almost knocked out into his own grasp by Polamalu, who was watching Hillis coming out of the backfield. Wallace throws the incompletion, 3rd and 8.
Very dangerous throw, I believe, by Seneca Wallace, because watch Polamalu. He's in good position. Look at that. He knocks it down. He's on top of him, but you can't get caught holding it in your end zone. He's hoping for early contact, but it was played perfectly. Great timing by Troy Polamalu. Dick LeBeau, he's got a veteran defense that everyone said they were too old at the beginning of the year, Kevin. In this complex scheme, you need veteran defenders who know the defense well.
They stay in the base, do the Steelers on defense, 3rd and 8. Incomplete. Looking for more. Make it the tight end on the near side, Jordan Cameron, who is a rookie out of USC. Polamalu is there. It is 3 and out for a third consecutive time for Cleveland.
This is something that Seneca Wallace told us they wanted to do. Attack the base defense of Pittsburgh by throwing the ball on early downs. But why do you want to challenge Troy Polamalu? He's in perfect position in his coverage.
Little punt. And again, they got Antonio Brown back. The last one sailed 63 yards for the veteran. This one will be a wobbly punt, which will give the Pittsburgh Steelers great beginning field position at the 42-yard line of Cleveland. 36-yard punt right there. Roethlisberger back out there. 19 seconds in the first. 3 straight 3 and outs by the Cleveland Browns. Troy Polamalu on that last drive was terrific defensively all over the field. He only practiced yesterday all week long. He's had a knee injury. 1st and 10. Mendenhall with an entourage. And then brought down after a gain of 5 by linebacker Chris Gokong. He's down to about the 37-yard line. And there is a player down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I believe Antonio, let's see here. I don't want.
It's like Mendenhall.
Let me see. I believe it is Mendenhall. It is. We'll take a break. 6 seconds in the first. Jard Mendenhall has been running as well as he has all season long, but got injured right here.
Yeah, you can see that right knee just sort of buckles as he jams that right foot in the ground with weight on him. Bam, right there. And that's when he holds that right knee.
That's not good. We'll take a break. The end of the first quarter is upon us. We're in Cleveland with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Browns scoreless at the end of 1. They continue to examine the knee of Rashard Mendenhall, who is going for his 3rd straight 1,000-yard season. He's had 8 carries and 38 yards today. They change sides now, and with Redmond in the backfield and going into the wind, is 2nd down and 5 for Roethlisberger at the 37-yard line of Cleveland. Kemoeatu is back out there at left guard. Looks like he and Essex might be going series to series. On the money, David Johnson. And hit on the play and brought down by Eric Hagg, who's a rookie out of Nebraska. It is a gain of 6 to the 31. Another first down for Pittsburgh.
And we already showed Pittsburgh Steelers 21 plays, only 61 yards to show after controlling the ball for most of that first quarter, 10 minutes in all. And now here in the second quarter, we're in good field position. Ben completes the pass to the tight end. Now they got to see if they can get the ball into the end zone. Remember, we said they wanted to put points on the board early in this game.
It's 1st down and 10. Redmond. Screen slowed him up as he shot through the gap from the secondary. It is a gain of 3 to the 27-yard line of the Cleveland Browns. We've seen 9 plays, and then Pittsburgh gave it up on downs. They couldn't convert on 4th, and they had 11 plays punt. This is their 3rd possession.
Right now, the Cleveland Browns, they have no rushing yards, and Pittsburgh 53 rushing yards, but it's imperative that they are able to run the ball. We said that Vin was going to be less than 100%. I got to believe if they're going to win this game, they're going to have to do it by running the football.
5 defensive backs, 2nd down and 7. Redmond for a block out there from Starks. Tripped up by screen, flags all over the field, and a player down for the Cleveland Browns. At about the 27, it was a 6-yard gain as it stands right now.
Holding number 53. Offense, 10-yard penalty. Still first down. Correction, 2nd down.
Alberto Riveron. Here's Pouncey. He's missed the last couple games with an injury. He'll be going to the Pro Bowl and is a starter this year, representing the Pittsburgh Steelers. Timeout, injury timeout, and 13:35 to play in the second quarter. That's their number 1 pick for the Cleveland Browns, Phil Taylor, who is down. He's out of Baylor. He's had a very solid season. Mendenhall now walking off the field. That is not good news. Right knee, questionable return, they tell us. With 5 in the secondary, 2nd down and 17. Antonio Brown. A little block there from Cotchery and stiff arms his way into Buster's screen. And he works his way to about the 36. Antonio does. It's a gain of 2 on the play. Screen is out of Nebraska.
A couple of things here. Just a quick bubble screen. Get the ball out of the hands of Ben Roethlisberger and allow Antonio Brown is so good in terms of yards after the catch. He's embarking upon 1,000 yards in terms of the kick return. He already has 1,000 yards receiving. Go to the Pro Bowl for the first time in just the second NFL season. He's had a phenomenal year.
Well, he set a Steelers single-season record for all-purpose yards. 3rd and 15. He began the season as the number 4 receiver, too. He's really worked his way up the ladder. Roethlisberger, nice catch. And slithering his way, Emmanuel Sanders hit by Adams. A catch and run of 14. Close to a first down. The Cleveland 22, about a yard shy. Right on the money, Roethlisberger.
Bruce Arians. Look, they don't even cover up the slot. This is a bust in terms of just their alignment defensively for the Cleveland Browns. They don't line anyone up over Sanders, and Ben recognizes it, gets rid of the ball real quick. You see Bruce Arians designing a game plan where Ben is getting the ball out of his hands very quickly. Doesn't want to take any unnecessary hits in this game, Kevin.
Taylor back out there in the defensive line for Cleveland. 4th and 1. Oh, look at the corkscrew move to get the first down. That was 2nd and 3rd effort. Mayava brings him down. Redmond picks up 3 the hard way to the 19. It is a first down for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And watch initially, 71 Rubin. Gokong, 51, gets into the backfield, but Redmond's able to spin out of both potential tackles to still create a first down. You may say they played it very well initially, but it was the effort and really nifty footwork of Isaac Redmond that allowed him to create the first down.
Great effort. Great effort. And they need him now with Mendenhall shelved for the day. 1st and 10. And this is into the wind from the 19 of the Browns. And he's got him. Dimitri Patterson, the former Philadelphia Eagle, stride for stride with Antonio Brown. Incomplete pass.
I thought he had his tight end Heath Miller open. And take a look at the tight end. You're going to see Heath Miller go open here. And watch, Ben's going to go outside. See right there, I think he has him open, but he goes to the outside instead. Would have been a much easier throw, I believe, to Heath Miller.
Wallace has been shut out so far. 2nd down and 10, the 8th play of the drive. Redmond, Ataba Rubin from behind. As he digs and claws his way for about 4 down to the 14-yard line of Cleveland.
Everything they're doing in the passing game right now with Bruce Arians as the offense coordinator has been getting the ball out of his hands. He's normally the kind of guy, Kevin, that is going to try to extend plays, want to hold on to it. That's why he has a high number of sacks. He doesn't mind getting his jersey dirty. But what did Mike Tomlin tell him today? No John Wayne stuff. He's like, we don't need you playing the role of a tough guy. Get rid of the ball. Don't take any unnecessary hits.
Roethlisberger's completion percentage, one of the top 10 in the NFL, 63% coming into today. He has a 3rd and 5 right here. Here comes Sheard. Down he goes. Back to the 27. Jabal Sheard. 8th sack of the season. First among rookie defensive linemen, loss of 12. They'll have to settle for a 3-point try.
And you can see Ben wanted to keep it. Now you can see right there's Sheard working against Gilbert. And see Ben wants to try to struggle to break loose, but he holds on to the ball, takes the sack, and this is just doing the smart thing. And normally, you know, Ben would be able to fight off a guy in that situation. He's big, he's quick, he's agile, but being less than 100% with that high ankle sprain, forced to take the sack.
Well, had they not sacked him, would have been about a 33-yard try. This is a 45-yard field goal try, and it is no good. Sean Sweeza. Boy, that sack was huge for Cleveland. A missed 45-yarder. Sheard comes up with the sack. 9:57 in the second. And still scoreless in Ohio. Steelers just missed a 45-yard field goal. Cleveland takes over at the 35. Seneca Wallace 1st and 10. At time, Hicks was, well, there's a nice-looking catch. A flag has been thrown. Jordan Cameron, the rookie tight end, makes the stop with the catch across the way. The stop was made by William Gay 15-yard catch to the 50-yard line as it stands right now. Also over there was Ike Taylor, and we will see what the flag is all about. Well, the wind probably played on that field goal attempt moments ago of 45 yards, and had the sack not been made by the Browns, it would have been a 33-yarder and much easier. Cleveland in their 4th possession.
There were 2 flags on the play. Both were for illegal contact. However, the quarterback was out of the pocket, so there is no foul for illegal contact. The result of the play is a first down.
That's the first down, but the wind is really fooling with the ball. If you pass into it and kick into it, this is before the game, and you can see Dawson. Watch the ball just get whacked over to the side by the wind. A gust pushing that off to the left right there, and an attempt by Sweezum. And then moments ago on a 45-yarder, again the wind gripping the ball and pushing it. You can see they say it could get up, the gusts today, up to 50 miles an hour off leg here. 1st and 10. Nice looking run, hard running by Peyton Hillis. Charging his way up the middle, 9-yard gain the hard way, and the tackle made by Worlds in the linebacking core for Pittsburgh.
Peyton Hillis coming off his first 100-yard rushing performance last week, and wanting to do it yet again against Pittsburgh Steelers defense that seldom gives up 100 yards rushing. If you take a look at the weather with that kind of wind gust, Kevin, they need Peyton Hillis to run it a lot.
Hillis with a gain of 2 on 2nd and 1. He gets the first down. Let's go to New York and James.
Kansas City doing its part to knock Denver out of the postseason.
Denver Broncos, all or nothing. You win the AFC West. You're in the playoffs as the 4th seed. Kyle Orton and Dexter McCluster have something to say about that. 21 yards on the ground, 7-0. Kansas City over Denver, and Tim Tebow just fumbled.
Kevin and Solomon.
Nice run. Yeah, what emotion for Orton going back to Denver.
We talked to Kyle Orton about that game last week when he was playing the Raiders.
1st and 10 with the win. Incomplete. And again, we're going for Jordan Cameron. Understand, Cameron, the rookie tight end, has only caught 5 passes coming into today. And they've gone to him a lot. Here's a 2nd and 10 now coming up for Seneca Wallace, taking the place of Colt McCoy, who has not been cleared to play nor be on the sideline after the hit he took from 92, James Harrison, which has been a big story here in Cleveland all week long. But Harrison coming back. 2nd down and 10. Hillis. That is what they were hoping for all season. Palomalu finally puts the button on him. Worlds made the initial hit. That's an 8-yard gain, and he's down to the Pittsburgh 31.
Yeah, watch William Gay. See, he has an opportunity to make that play right there. That's the difference between most players and, say, when Troy Polamalu gets into the backfield. And if you don't get him on the ground, he is a load once he gets to the 2nd level.
Five defensive backs, 3rd down and 2. Wallace, he's got the first down. Seneca Wallace. He broke a tackle of Foot. He broke a tackle of Taylor. He's inside the 5. A 27-yard run. Mark him at the 4. Cleveland 1st and goal.
The entire Pittsburgh Steelers defense talked about it. Look, he sees green grass, and this is where he makes you pay. He's much more mobile and athletic than Colt McCoy. The 9-year veteran out of Iowa State, he made a living doing this in college. They said he was down. You could see ball down there and ball out on the contact. Big run for Seneca Wallace.
1st and goal at the 4. Hillis, and a great defensive play by Casey Hampton. Coming through the multiple Pro Bowler. Loss of 3 on the play, and they'll put him back at the 8.
Oh, he works over the center, Alex Mack. Look at this. Walks him right into the backfield. That's just making a play when your defense needs it.
And Mack was a Pro Bowl center a season ago.
He's pretty good in his own right, but that's 2 Pro Bowlers going at it. And you can see how the run by Seneca Wallace has sparked this drive, something they didn't do on their previous 3 possessions.
Hillis had a couple of nice runs of 8 and 9 yards early in the drive. 2nd down, goal at the 8. Receiver foul. Nessaqua was covered by William Gay, who's having a career year. In the secondary for the Steelers, Massaquoi slipped as he was cutting.
Massaquoi gets tangled up working against William Gay in the slot, and then Seneca Wallace has to cut it loose. He cuts it loose, but because Massaquoi is tied up with Gay, throws off the timing of the pass. Gay had himself some pretty good coverage. More than anything, you have to disrupt the release of the wide receiver at the line of scrimmage.
Steelers stay in the nickel. Ninth play of the Cleveland drive. 30 go at the 8. Worlds is chasing Wallace. Great play by Worlds, who again has taken the place of the injured Lamar Woodley. It will be 4th down, and a flag is down at the 5.
Great play by Worlds. They're saying they were holding Worlds. That's what Mike Tomlin is saying.
I'd be holding on too, as good as he is.
Worlds broke loose and could have had himself a sack, and that's what they're probably going to call him.
Ineligible downfield, number 75. A penalty is declined. 4th down.
It's Artis Hicks, the right tackle today, starting for the ill Tony Pashos, who's got a stomach ailment. They're going to try for 3. Will the Cleveland Browns, and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense does their job keeping them out of the end zone.
They all started by, of course, the nose tackle Casey Hampton getting penetration in the backfield, kind of got the defense settled to get a stop inside the red zone.
A 26-yard try here by Phil Dawson, having a terrific season. Into his back. Cleveland has scored first. 6:03 to play in the first half. It's the Browns, 3-0. Next, we just had a 26-yard field goal by the Browns. They did have it 1st and goal at the 4. The big play was a 27-yard scramble by quarterback Seneca Wallace in the ensuing kickoff, with a 30-mile-an-hour wind driving Antonio Brown, taking it out. Good for him. What wind, he says. Oh, what a hit by Cribbs. What a hit by Cribbs, who is the leading special teams tackler for the Cleveland Browns. A 24-yard return. It's the Browns and Steelers with hits like this. Well, the Steelers have had it now 3 times. You can see that they've had it for a lot of plays. They did miss the field goal 45 yards into the wind. They have it again after a 26-yard field goal by Cleveland moments ago. Antonio Brown takes it to the 18. It's 1st and 10 for Roethlisberger. Mendenhall is out with a knee injury. He will not return. We'll try to get more information on that as the game goes on. Isaac Redman is back there right now. And short and underneath, and that goes to Jericho Cotchery with the hit made by Dimitri Patterson. It is a 7-yard gain. He's up to the 25.
Quick passes, getting the ball out of the hands of Ben Roethlisberger. He sees the crosser. You have double crossing routes. Wait for Cotchery to clear, an easy completion for Ben.
Kemoyatu, by the way, is back at left guard. We say that because he had lost the job at left guard. Essex came in the second series. Kemoyatu started. He pulls right here and offers a block on 2nd and 3 for Redmond. And he picks up yards to about the 29-yard line for the Pittsburgh Steelers on a gain of 4. And Adams was there with the stop. It's a 1st down.
Yeah, but Kemoyatu, you said he pulled on the play and created running room to pick up the 1st down.
He lost that job back on November 27th. Basically the nickel the entire game for the secondary of the Cleveland Browns. The Browns defense is number 10 in the NFL. Pittsburgh's D, number 1.
167.
Pressure. Redmond dancing. Slips a couple tackles, including Gokongs, and finally is brought down by DeQuell Jackson and Adams. It is a gain of 1. Big Ben just got that ball away as he was getting drilled.
Watch Jamie Mitchell. Watch this. 92 comes around. Boom. Right there, just as Ben got rid of it. Could have been a real big play for the Cleveland Brown defense, but Ben just has that sense of awareness in the pocket. We call it pocket presence, knowing when the pressure's about to close in.
Ben's going to his 2nd Pro Bowl. He was a Pro Bowler back in 07. Pro Bowler this year, too.
Tuesday.
And boy, can he take a hit, huh?
He can. 2nd down and 9.
Middle.
Redmond. Mike Adams read it well. The clock continues to tick. the ball out to the 33 on a pickup of 3. And you said something interesting before, and you took this from Mike Tomlin's conversation last night. Getting that ball out in a hurry so you don't expose your quarterback who's not as mobile as usual.
Yeah, he's not as mobile, and so his ability to extend plays is not what it was when he was healthy. That ankle injury is very limited. He's wearing a brace on it, and he said it was sort of like a prosthetic. So it does really limit Ben Roethlisberger's mobility on the football field.
He's thrown for the second most yards in Steeler history. 3rd down and 5. Redmond. Hit by Adams, he was hit by Sheard, and then the avalanche comes. Jackson, Jamie Mitchell, a loss of 2. They're going to have to put the ball back to about the 32-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You know, normally on the delayed draw, you let Sheard come up the field, but they don't block him. He comes underneath the tackle there, Marcus Gilbert, and Gilbert doesn't block him. And so Sheard, look, watch as he shoots underneath, right in the lap of Isaac Redmond. And from there, the Browns just come swarming, playing really good defense for Dick Duran.
Okay, Cleveland has taken a timeout. You see the clock at 3:11. They want to conserve as much time as they've got the wind, and I think in their minds, and stopping Pittsburgh right there again, in their minds feeling they've got some of the momentum on their game. They scored the last time they had it, did the Browns, on a 26-yard field goal.
Well, they're losing in time of possession, but if you could go and put more points on the board before halftime here with the wind at your back, that would be huge in terms of the momentum.
Cribbs, who had a punt return touchdown of 84 yards last week, he'll dance and he'll get drilled. Nice defensive play that time on the special teams by Keenan Lewis. 32-yard punt, 3-3 on the hang time, 2-yard return. See what makes unforgettable this season's #1 new drama, Poppy Montgomery. And Dylan Walsh star Tuesday only on CBS. A Steeler is down. You and I, a couple of years ago, were in Houston, and that is Cortez Allen, who is a rookie out of the Citadel. He's been very good, actually, as an extra defensive back. And in that game a couple of years ago that you and I did down in Houston, the New England Patriots are playing the Texans, and Wes Welker went down in that game, blew a knee, was unavailable for the playoffs, and it affected the Patriots from that point on. And that was in a game that really didn't mean much for New England. They were already in the playoffs.
Yeah, they had home field advantage in the playoffs. They went 2 weeks later and lost at home at Gillette Stadium without Wes Welker in the game to the Baltimore Ravens. You had to know that it took something out of that football team in terms of robbing them of their confidence to go in and play really good football. And so you do have to be careful in these final games as you take a look at Cortez Allen being taken off the field.
Now, Allen, of course, made the tackle, had the injury.
There he is, 28. Take a look at that arm. Ooh. That's what it is. He grabbing that right bicep.
So Mendenhall is out, and he has got a knee injury. Here comes one of your young defensive backs, Allen, out of the game and holding on to his right shoulder and arm. Here's a 1st and 10 from the 33 for the Cleveland Browns. Going back and looking for his wide receiver, Mohamed Massaquoi.
Experience and talent on defense is what you need when you're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. And look at Troy Polamalu doing his normal thing. Great instincts to get the sack on Seneca Wallace. Good coverage all over Peyton Hillis. And then you can see on Jordan Cameron, perfect position, taking the right angle in coverage. He knows where he's supposed to be on the football field. The offense never knows where he's going to be.
2nd down and 10. Hillis broke a tackle of Larry Foote and then was belted in the secondary by Clark and by Harrison. It's a gain of 3. And they'll spot him at the 36-yard line.
Surprisingly, the Pittsburgh Steelers only 10 interceptions. They were usually one of the best at taking the ball away and getting those big plays in the secondary. And Ryan Clark says, hey, we have to do a better job. But when we get into the playoffs against the really good teams, we have to create turnovers for this defense if we're going to win and go deep into the postseason.
They only have 14 takeaways. That is last in the NFL coming into today. 3rd and 7. Wallace. Cribbs. Lewis can't get him. Troy Polamalu is there as he works his way down the sideline has a first down. A catch of 22 yards to the 41 of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Josh Cribbs comes open. Seneca Wallace can't miss him. He's so wide open. And all he needs to break is one tackle with Troy Polamalu. He'll score a touchdown. Troy does a good job of wrestling Cribbs to the ground.
That's a look at what Cleveland has done today, leading on a 26-yard field goal. The Steelers have lost their number one running back, Mendenhall, to a knee, the severity of which we do not know. We've just been told he will not return. Also lost their young defensive back and special teamer Cortez Allen. We'll find out his condition. First and 10 after the 22-yard catch and run by Cribbs. 2-minute warning. Cleveland 2 timeouts. Wallace with the wind on the screws. Caught by Cribbs. They had Polamalu and they had William Gay over there. A 14-yard strike to the 27 of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And you saw Seneca Wallace change the play at the line of scrimmage. They got Pittsburgh in their base defense. They want to go outside and work on these corners. What does Seneca Wallace tell us? That he felt they had an advantage with their wide receivers matched up against these corners on the outside against their base defense.
From the 27, first and 10, no one home. Evan Moore was going to the near side. Cribbs was cutting to the far, and it wasn't within 15 yards of anybody. Well, coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report, we'll take you to our New York studios for JB, Dan Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Bill Cowher for news, scores, and highlights on this last regular season weekend in the NFL. That's coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report here on CBS.
Helps to have the win in this game. You
Makes
can see what Cleveland did with the win. 97 yards, only had 16 total yards of offense going against the win in the first quarter.
Second down and 10. Here they come. Worlds was pressuring. Ziggy Hood is in the vicinity. Going deep and through the hands of the tight end Moore. The coverage by Ryan Clark.
Got to tell you, Seneca Wallace made one excellent play. First of all, he uses his feet to beat Jason Worlds coming off the right corner. Look, unblocked, and Worlds is an athletic defensive end. But look at this throw, because I think Evan Moore has a good chance to make a catch here.
Oh, he did.
Goes right off the fingertips. And this play was created simply because of the athleticism and then the accurate throw from Seneca Wallace. Gave him a chance to make a play.
Still the 5 defensive backs for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Third down and 10. Out of the reach of Hillis. In the vicinity covering was Ryan Clark. So now fourth down and 10. And with the wind gusting at over 30 miles an hour, why not bring in your very accurate foot, Phil Dawson?
Boy, when you get an opportunity to make a play against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, you know you better take advantage of it. They're not going to give you a number of opportunities. Of course, you have to settle for the field goal, but you get the sense that Cleveland had an opportunity to get some points on the board there.
Here's a 45-yarder, just to give you some reference. Dawson has had 7 50-plus yard field goals this year. That's third all-time in one season in the NFL. A 45-yarder, and the wind at his back to extend the lead. 6-0 Cleveland. 1:06 to play. Cribbs was huge on that drive. He had catches of 22 and 14 off the fingertips of quarterback Seneca Wallace. Dawson has kicked 2 field goals, and the Browns on top 6-0. For more than 30 years, it has been the must-see show the pros watch. Unscripted, unrehearsed, and unpredictable. Join JB, Phil, Chris, and Warren inside the NFL. Wednesdays on Showtime. Well, New England has won today after trailing early to Buffalo. So they're the number 1 seed. Baltimore and Pittsburgh still in a dance as to where they could be. We know Houston is locked in at number 3. And then there's a lot of conjecture. Who will get in, who will go out. Oakland is involved, and Cincinnati's involved, and Denver's involved.
But if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got to take care of business here in Cleveland. Right now, Cincinnati is losing 10-3 to the Baltimore Ravens. But if the Bengals can come back and win that game, if you're Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers, you can still win a division title with a win here today in Cleveland if the Bengals should beat Baltimore.
Caught short, and this is Jericho Cotchery. who was brought down after returning that ball out to about the 29-yard line. Usama Young brings him down. 19-yard return by Country.
You could see Ben limping there. You see that, Kevin?
Yep.
It's less than 100%. You might ask, well, why is Mike Tomlin playing his star quarterback? Don't you want to rest him going into the postseason? Remember, we've already given you the permutations for why they need to win this ball game. So much on the line, including possibly a week's rest for Ben Roethlisberger and that ankle sprain. You can see the brace on that left ankle.
Wallace has still not caught a ball today. First down and 10 from the 28. Starts a good block at the tackle. Country makes the grab. Hit on the play by Sheldon Brown. Close to a first down. In fact, let's give him a gain of about 11. Mark him at the 39.
See Ben, got to take a shot. We haven't seen him go down the field with the ball at all.
Pittsburgh 3 timeouts into the win. First and 10. That's Hines Ward with a catch. And down he goes at about the 46 on a gain of 7 for Hines Ward.
Remember, it was just 3 weeks ago when this Pittsburgh Steelers team played the Cleveland Browns in a 14-3 win, as we see the pass and completion to Hines Ward. It took a big play at the end of that game by Antonio Brown to break it wide open.
That's 2 catches now for Hines today. Coming in, he needed 5 to become the 8th receiver in the history of pro football to go for 1,000. And in a year where he has lost his starting job, an injury forced him out in the middle of the season. That's when Antonio Brown came in there. You just don't know what the future holds sometimes, even for the greats like Hines Ward. Second down and 3. Ward, the former Super Bowl MVP, leader, pro. That Mike Tomlin told us last night, he's the blueprint for professionalism. Who would argue? Second and 3. Into the wind, he's got Antonio Brown. What a catch! What a catch! Out of bounds, Joe Hayden. Ripped out of play at the 14-yard line, a 40-yard catch and run. Yes, sir, you're going to a Pro Bowl, and you are a terrific young receiver.
Watch this catch. Over the opposite shoulder, pulls it in, and it sticks to the shoulder pad with one hand. And he makes this play against Joe Hayden. And it was a big play that he made against Joe Hayden in that Thursday night game 3 weeks ago to seal the deal for the Steelers in that game.
We talked to him last night. What a class kid. And look at that. First player, NFL history. 1,000 receiving, 1,000 returning. We've had a front row view. First and 10 from the 14. Over the head of Wallace. And incomplete in the coverage by Mike Adams across the middle. Ben couldn't hit it. Now Roethlisberger today, 12 of 20. What made that catch so difficult, as we see Wallace once again, what made that so hard is that the wind had grabbed the ball and he had to adjust.
And it was taking it away from him. He had to immediately take his eyes off of it and whip his head around and relocate the football and haul it in. Incredible catch. And I think you got to go back to Antonio Brown, because right now Joe Hayden has his hands full trying to stay man-to-man with Antonio Brown.
A lot of terrible towels inside the stadium today. Second down and 10. Here comes Sheard. Incomplete. He had a receiver there. That was Redmond. And then he took a hit. And a hard one at that. And Roethlisberger having a word right there with Riveron. It'll be 3rd and 10. I don't think I blame them on that one.
Watch Ben Roethlisberger now. He's going to break out. And I'm telling you right now, if he trusts himself, he can run for something right here. He can beat defensive linemen, but he's looking to get rid of the ball. He's not playing the role of John Wayne, as his coach asked him not to. Be more conservative with your approach to playing this game.
But he's going to be glad come playoff time that he did play, because after missing last week against St. Louis and the week before on Monday night in San Francisco with the 4 picks, and he said he was, as you mentioned earlier, he was only 40% in that game. Says he's 60% good today.
And had he stayed out of today's game, then it would be 3 weeks of inactivity.
Great point.
Right?
The timing is so important, and he said that to us last night.
Absolutely. He says, I need to practice. I need to play. He said, I'm a guy that I have to be out there on the field in order to get better. And so I think what Ben's doing, it's not a selfish thing. I think he knows that he's going to be needed in the postseason. Doesn't want those 3 weeks of inactivity, Kevin, that we talked about. And Mike Tomlin said the same when we met with him. He needs Ben to be on the field, but he wants to be cautious with him, doesn't want to put himself in harm's way.
He says he'll have swelling in that ankle until April. The doctors told him that. 3rd and 10. Pittsburgh 1 timeout. Six defensive backs. Here comes Rubin. There goes Ben. Nice catch to the 2. It's made by Antonio Brown. He was hit by Patterson. He was whacked by Brown. Sheldon Brown, that is. A gain of 12 on 3rd and 10. It's 1st and goal, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, this is going to be a very nice throw by Ben. He was patient here because I thought he could have run with it, but he knows he can wait, and he sees Antonio Brown comes open. Ball goes a little high, but Brown makes a really nice catch, tackled immediately, and knocked out of bounds. Maybe if that ball has better location, maybe he catches and turns to stick that ball across the pylon for a touchdown.
Pittsburgh's out of timeouts. They got a 1st and goal, 11 seconds to play here before halftime. How about what Roethlisberger does in extending plays and, you know, the chaos that ensues when he begins to roll out of that pocket?
Well, what he does, he buys time for his guys to get open. And today, being less than 100%, not able to do so. Now this, Kevin, with no timeout, I don't know that you run it here with 11 seconds. You take a shot in the passing game. Incompletion stops the clock.
1st and goal at the 1. Over the head of Antonio Brown, the coverage on the play by Dimitri Patterson. And the clock, as you see, at 7. 2nd down and goal.
And you know, Ben wanted to cut it loose early because what you don't want to do also with no timeouts, you can't take a sack. You cannot get a sack. Clock will expire, and it'll be halftime. But they got to get some points out of this possession. You know, Ben wants a touchdown.
On this drive, Brown has caught passes of 40 and 12 yards. 2nd and goal at the 1. Ledman in the backfield. For Ward. Incomplete. Coverage by Dimitri Patterson.
Well, you get the sense that Hines Ward, look, he's going to be on top of the defender. He can't find the football. It was as if he was trying to locate it visually and lost it in the lights. As you know, that Hines would normally extend himself and maybe even have a diving attempt at it. He was not able to leave his feet and get his hands on the football.
Roethlisberger, by the way, 14 yards away from 4,000. Here is a 19-yard try by Sean Sweezum. And they blow that baby dead.
After the ball being snapped, Cleveland called a timeout. This is their 2nd. This will be a 30-second timeout.
All right, let's step back here for a second. There are some seeding things on the mind of Mike Tomlin, who we talked to last night. This is a valuable game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cleveland has come out in a 4-11 season. First-year head coach feeling his way through. On their 2nd-string quarterback, what have you taken in this first half here today in the final weekend of the regular season?
If you're the Cleveland Browns under Pat Shurmur, you want to start your 2012 season here today by beating a really good playoff-bound Pittsburgh Steelers team, denying them that 2nd seed in the postseason.
And the Steelers are on the board. Some nice plays, though, on the 40-yard pass to Brown, which gave them great position. Roethlisberger 13-24. Cleveland on top by 3, 6-3 at halftime. We'll be back with the Sprint Halftime Report from New York after this message and a word from your local station as you're watching the NFL on CBS. Two top 10 defenses, rain, snow to come, all part of our first half here. Do you think the Steelers took a look at that Baltimore lead over Cincinnati, and will that affect, you think, what the Steelers do here in the second half in terms of personnel?
I think they still want to play to win. I think they squandered some early opportunities. You have to question whether or not Ben Roethlisberger continues to play in the second half of this ball game because he limped off, and you got to know that over halftime that ankle only becomes more sore, and he wasn't moving too well at the end of the first half, Kevin.
Well, with the rain falling, let's now take a look at the Droid Razor play presented by Motorola.
Well, it was the passing game for the Pittsburgh Steelers that presented our play from Motorola. The pass to Antonio Brown, 40 yards, throw and catch, and what a great catch by Antonio Brown. Now over 1,000 yards receiving and 1,000 return yards, first player in NFL history to do so. And take a look at the time of possession for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Over 20 minutes of time of possession where they had the ball in the first half, but only 3 points to show as they trail by 3 on the scoreboard.
No word yet on Rashard Mendenhall. They're just saying he has a knee injury and he will not return. As you take a look at the quarterbacks today, Wallace's big play was really a scramble of 27 yards that set up a field goal of 26. And then Cribbs on the very next drive for Cleveland caught a couple of passes, one for 22, which was a catch and run, one for 14. That set up a Cleveland 45-yard Phil Dawson field goal. And then just before halftime, the Steelers, who had it first and goal, got a 19-yarder from Sweezum. The wind is blowing right to left. The gusts, they have just told us from the press box, have been recorded at times over 30 miles an hour. It is clearly going from right to left, and that's where this kick is coming from to begin the second half from Phil Dawson. Looking up into the wind and into the rain is Antonio Brown, who gets stuck by Quentin Spears, who is a rookie from Prairie View A&M. Waved by Miami, 28-yard return. And here comes Ben strapping it on. He'll get back out there in a 1st and 10 for his Steeler offense.
Oh, it's cold out there, and he's already wearing that ankle brace. And you can see him limping his way back onto the field. And you have to wonder how much of that injury is being hampered also by the cold weather here today and how much of it stiffened up during the halftime period.
What did he compare it to last night? He was trying to describe the brace. He's had a couple different ones he's put on, but this one goes pretty much right up to the bottom of his calf. You can see the different shoes, and that left shoe has got extra reinforcement. You can see that the plastic there on the sides by his ankle. 1st down and 10 in Isaac Redmond. Leading the way in the block was Ramon Foster. We've called his name a lot today on that line. The tackle made by rookie Phil Taylor. A gain of 5 for Isaac Redmond, and he is up to the 29.
There's Dick Duran. The Cleveland Browns defense has held Pittsburgh Steelers to only 3 points in the first half of this game. And the only team in the NFL to not allow touchdown on the opening possession of the second half this season.
2nd down, short 5. Redmond again. One of the back of his blockers. He breaks it to Krell Jackson tackle. And boy, he loses his hat that time. Mike Adams in the secondary was trying to bring him down. Good thing is Redmond's head wasn't in his helmet. 15-yard run right there. And he's up to the 44. That is a 1st down for Pittsburgh.
Sir Isaac Redmond, look at the way he's running. Like a true Pittsburgh Steeler running back. And they always have real big, strong running backs here playing for Pittsburgh. You go all the way back to John Harry Johnson, Franco Harris, the Bus, Mendenhall, and Redmond fits right in there, and so does John Clay. I'm sure we'll see him before the night is done.
Clay is in. He's a rookie free agent out of Missouri. He was called up off the practice squad. He follows the Kemoatu block. He's out to about the 49 on a gain of 5. And hit on that line by Ataba Rubin. So Clay, who had a touchdown last week in St. Louis, off the practice squad out of the University of Wisconsin in his 2nd NFL game.
And we have him listed at 250 pounds. There you see him listed at 248. Either way, he's a big guy and tough to tackle.
You know what? If there's anything with Mendenhall, that injury lingers on. Clay becomes a pretty important guy. Looks like the former running back you used to see back there for that Steeler team. More number 36.
They've had some big ones, and they've had some good ones.
2nd down and 5. Then incomplete. I don't know if that was intended for Cotchery or if it was an overthrown pass for a crossing receiver. Maybe
he's talking to Wallace. He said that Wallace, you've got to see the ball. See, watch. He's looking at Wallace all the way. See, Wallace isn't looking. Wallace is looking to clear for Antonio Brown as the crosser. He's saying, while you're clearing, you still got to keep your eyes locked in on me because I could throw it to you.
Wallace has not caught a pass today. Wallace will be a starter in the Pro Bowl as 71 receptions coming into today. He is battling a bit of an ankle. 3rd down and 5. Gilbert holding off Sheard. Oh, was caught. How about that grab by Heath Miller? He needs one more reception. He has 12-yard gain right there. He's down to the 39. Need one more reception to pass Lynn Swann for number 4 all-time in Steeler history.
This is just great fortune. And normally when balls are overthrown like that, because it was intended initially for Wallace, it's overthrown. It goes to Miller. He makes the catch. Normally those kind of passes are intercepted.
Redmond in the backfield here. Heath Miller with his 50th reception of the season. 1st and 10. Isaac Redmond slicing through Taba Rubin, one of the more underrated defensive linemen in the NFL, making the stop. It is a gain of 5. They'll put him at the 34.
Really important note. We've seen the Pittsburgh Steelers offense struggle when going into the win. They were going into the win in the 2nd quarter. They're going into the win again here in the 3rd quarter. If they can get some points while battling this win, well, it really bodes well for them going into the 4th quarter with the wind at their back.
As he came out to that left guard. Essex was in there in the 2nd series in the game, and we haven't seen him since. 2nd down and 5. Trey Essex, by the way, was playing center last week when Legursky went down. Legursky's got a shoulder inactive today. Oh, looked him off beautifully, going deep, and he shouldn't have left. He shouldn't have left. Buster Screen should not have left. Incomplete pass, and they were looking for Wallace.
This ball should be intercepted. Ben's throwing into a wind here. Now watch Screen, 22. He's got a great chance intercepting this ball. He mistimed it. The wind, I'm sure, knocked it down more than he thought it would. He jumped, but the ball went down right below his waist. He should have never left the ground. Should have made an easy catch and interception on that.
But you know
play.
what? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt that the wind played with that.
The wind did play with the ball. There's no doubt about it, but you got to make that catch.
Play at the side, 3rd and 5. Roethlisberger, nice looking catch. Antonio Brown across the middle. Joe Hayden brings him down at the 23-yard line. That's a catch of 11 on 3rd and 5 and a 1st down for Pittsburgh.
Antonio Brown's not having a problem catching the ball. Look at this. And we've seen him pluck a few that were a little bit high just over his shoulder. We've seen him pluck it down, and Ben Roethlisberger's now over 4,000 yards passing for the 2nd time in his career.
And he holds the all-time mark that he set a couple of years ago.
Breaking Terry Bradshaw's mark.
Yep.
No. Hold on.
1st and 10. Pouncey the snap. First catch today by Wallace. 4th time they've gone to him. Look at the blocking downfield by Kotchery. Running out of real estate. DeQuell Jackson was over there. The catch and run to the 12. He picks up 11 on the play.
So many talented receivers on this Pittsburgh Steelers team. One thing they all do, block downfield, as Jericho Kotchery is doing here. Another thing they all do so well is they run after the catch very well. This is Mike Wallace. We've seen Antonio Brown do it. Kotchery can do it. Hines Ward is exceptional as well.
1st down and 10. And Isaac Redmond takes it with a little move of about a yard on the play and brought down by Phil Taylor. So Redmond on this drive is at a run of 15. They've had a pass to Miller for 12. A pass to Brown for 11. A catch and run moments ago for Wallace of 11 yards. Now 2nd down 9, the 11th play of this Pittsburgh Steeler drive.
It's been good, except for on those crossing routes. I think they've gone to the well one too many times because they had a lot of miscommunication on those crossing routes. And if I'm the Cleveland Browns, you've got to look out for it. Be ready to jump one and intercept it.
It was held and thick, but can he get the ball? Tried to reel it in. Jericho Kotchery. Boy, they had all kinds of guys over there, namely Dimitri Patterson, 3rd and 9.
What about the timing on this throw? Perfect ball placement by Big Ben. That ball falls right in the lap of Kotchery. He bobbles it and can't haul it in. Ben saying, what do I got to do to get a touchdown pass in this game?
And Cottree's a good red zone receiver,
He
too.
really is. It was just, he was obstructed by the defender, but it was, I thought, good ball placement by Big Ben.
3rd and 9. 6 in the secondary. Roethlisberger. Manuel Sanders is over there, and he was covered by Sheldon Brown. Incomplete. They'll try for 3 and try to tie, but the Browns defense does their job.
And watch Ben. He just slings this. This is all arm. He didn't set his feet. See, right there, it was just all arm. He whipped it out. Did hit the hands of his intended receiver on that play. But Sheldon Brown was able to knock it away.
They felt the pressure that time from Jamie Mitchell coming off the side. And here is a 29-yard field goal try. Drive started back at the 23-yard line. Long drive by Pittsburgh. And that ties it with 9:43 to play. A 29-yard Sean Sweezan field goal. 9:43 in the 3rd. Seneca Wallace getting the Cleveland start today at quarterback for the injured Colt McCoy, still out with the concussion he suffered back on December 8th in that Thursday night Cleveland loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, we talked to Coach Shermer about the future of Colt McCoy. He said, hey, he improved this year, and he looks at Colt McCoy as if he's almost a rookie. He said, but he does need to continue to develop if we are going to get where we want to go. And you could tell that, I think, under scrutiny and evaluation, they're going to really look at their quarterback position going into the future.
First kick into the wind, you saw what they did. Oh, and a fumble recovered by Cleveland at the 31. There was a nice hit there by Larry Foote, who has seen a lot of snaps on defense today. 9-yard return for Cribbs. Cleveland will get it for the first time in the second half. We're now tied at 6. Pat Shurmur was hired by Mike Holmgren as the head coach of this team, taking the place of what had been a string of coaches. And, of course, now he's without his first-string quarterback, Colt McCoy.
Yeah, Colt McCoy knocked out week 14 on this hit. We've seen it so many times by James Harrison. Sustained a concussion and has not played since. He's going to miss the final 3 games of the season. And I think that's the shame of it all, is that he doesn't get to finish the season as their starting quarterback. And that's one of the things Coach Shermer talked about, said it would have been nice for him to finish by playing every single game as our starting quarterback, and only then you can really grow and fully develop. But the evaluation takes place beginning tomorrow on Monday.
It'll be interesting to see if they think they have seen enough to make a judgment on McCoy. 1st and 10, Peyton Hillis squirts free. Jumping on him was Ryan Clark, the gain to the 41, and he picks up 7 on the play.
Now remember, the hit by James Harrison cost him a big check. He was suspended for a game, and you know, he's on that most wanted list because as a repeat offender, you get fined so many times for those kinds of hits, and everyone's going to be looking out for it. So he's going to have to play it clean for quite some time to avoid another suspension.
2nd down and 3. Once again, Peyton Hillis. Kiesel got him. Worlds gets him. Gain of a yard. You know, and to the 42-yard line.
And Kevin, we talked to Joshua Cribbs, and of course he played with James Harrison at Kent State, and said they talk after every single game. And he said he's talked to James Harrison. He said, look, you've got to find and figure out a way to play without getting these costly penalties and these fines and suspensions. But Josh Cribbs says, hey, when I was returning kicks in college, I loved when he played aggressively blocking for me. He said, you love James Harrison if he's playing on your team.
Put in for Ferrier, 3rd down and 2. Here comes Worlds. Oh, he's picked off by Troy Polamalu. Did he stay in bounds? Yes, he did. Wallace is picked off, 43-yard line. Troy Polamalu going to his 7th Pro Bowl, his 2nd pick of the season, the first turnover of the game. The Steeler defense heard from right here, and Troy Polamalu makes it work. Polamalu with the interception. Someday he will be in Canton. Wallace throws the pick. 43-yard line. 1st and 10 for Roethlisberger. Ended all out with a knee injury early in the game. If you're just joining us, Redmond taking his place along with Clay. Hines Ward. Oh, he tried to hurdle him and came close. Dimitri Patterson makes the stop. It is a 9-yard catch and run by the great Hines Ward to the 34.
Oh, Hines Ward, this is what he's known for. And Mike Tomlin said, we're not going to be shy about getting him that record. Hines Ward tries to get the hurdle. He goes down, but he's getting his catches inching ever so closely to that 1,000-yard reception mark.
2 more to go. Steelers today have had 3 red zone appearances. They've gotten 2 field goals, and they missed a field goal. 2nd down and 1. Redmond, nice block by Miller, nice block by Ward. Oh, more beautiful spinning and corkscrewing before the tackle made by Haig. It's a gain of 10, also a stop there by Brian Sanford, all the way to the 24.
Let's go back to the interception. It's easy. We call it pattern reading. Y out, Z slant. But look at the pressure by Jason Worrells in the face of the quarterback. We say pressure leads to picks, and see Polamalu takes advantage of it. He saw the Z slant. He knew Y was going out. You break to the interception point. It's just good pattern reading by Troy Polamalu and taking advantage of the pressure provided by Jason Worrells in the face of the quarterback.
Just joining us, Roethlisberger has gone over 4,000 yards on the season with his 173 passing yards today. Redmond, nice stick right there by Usama Young. And that is a gain of a yard. Mark him at the 23.
Ryan Clark talked about it as we see this offense going down the field to try to get more points on the board, going into the wind here in the 3rd quarter where Pittsburgh looks to take control of the game. But Ryan Clark said, we got to get interceptions to create a short field for our offense. And boy, did they do it with that Troy Polamalu interception.
It's 2nd down and 9. Reaching back, hit by Hayden, brought down. Yeah, I'll tell you what, you can take about 11-yard lead on that catch to the 12.
He's good. There's no doubt. He's working against, I think, one of the better cornerbacks in the league in Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden is a very good cover corner, and Antonio Brown seems to be winning the matchup advantage.
Brown said he worked out a lot in the offseason. Down in Miami with some pretty familiar names, like there's a receiver down at the Houston Texans he was with a little
Andre
bit.
Johnson, yes. Chad Ochocinco, they worked out together down in Miami, Florida this offseason. It's paying off against one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL.
Hayden is a future star in this league, by the way. He's a terrific corner. 1st and 10, and looking here for Wallace over the head with some jousting there by Sheldon Brown, and again into a breeze. You don't know how much it's fiddling with that ball. 2nd down and 10.
Look at Mike Tomlin, and Mike Tomlin is such a great motivator. He knows how to say the right things at the right time to his players, and all of them are coachable when he's doing the teaching. He knows how to prick their emotions and get the best out of each and every player.
It's 2nd down and 10.
Tuesday.
Whoops. Shear jumping off. We asked him last night when we were visiting, Mike, you're so good with words and phrases.
Neutral zone infraction, unabated to the quarterback. Number 97 on defense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
And I said, do you have a relative or someone that gave you that gift? And he said, yeah, it was my grandmother. She basically raised me, and she was a beautician, ran a beauty parlor, and I used to hang out there and hear all these ladies talk all day. I learned a lot of stuff.
He said she was blunt, she was to the point.
Yeah.
She didn't really care about your feelings, but she communicated her point.
She did.
and we can see those traits transferred to her grandson and Mike Tomlin.
We had a wonderful discussion with him last night. Second down and 5. Redmond with the block by Miller that opens the gate into the house. A 7-yard touchdown run by Isaac Redmond. Nice looking drive. Heath Miller threw a terrific block on that front line, opening the door. And the Steelers on top for the first time.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say with no regard for mankind, because that's exactly what we get here, Kevin. He's just a battering ram. DeQuell Jackson can't keep him out of the end zone. None of the defenders for the Cleveland Browns can keep Isaac Redmond from entering the end zone.
Redmond gets his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season, taking the place of the injured Mendenhall. Extra point now coming up from Sean Sweezum, and that will make it 13-6, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Great drives. Hines Ward had a catch and run for 9. Brown had an 11-yard reception. All this came about on the interception by Polamalu, where they end up with a 7-yard Redmond touchdown run. Pittsburgh Steelers have seen their quarterback throw for over 4,000 on the season. Redmond just had his third touchdown run of the year, with the tight end Miller throwing a nice block to open things up. Part of 13 unanswered points by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Squeeze him again, sends this on a ground ball. And Cribbs, who did play a little bit of baseball in his past, will gobble it up, vacuum it in, and take it up to the 33. And a flag has been thrown with McFadden jumping off him. Another flag has been thrown. Will Allen was there too.
Holding number 44 on the receiving team during the run. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
That's the hobbling Eddie Williams out of Idaho. Roethlisberger in there, 13 unanswered. It's Pittsburgh 13-6. In Cleveland, and tonight on 60 Minutes, an investigation into the SAT cheating scandal and Lara Logan's skyscraping report on a climber who doesn't use ropes. That's 60 Minutes tonight, only on CBS. After the 7-yard touchdown run, the ensuing kickoff, 23-yard line, 1st and 10, Seneca Wallace. Josh Cribbs knocked down by Lawrence Timmons, who had a sack earlier in the game. Nice catch, lassos it at the 34, picks up 11 yards and a first down.
How can a guy like Lawrence Timmons cover in space against Joshua Cribbs? Because as veteran players in this defense, not only do you have to rush the quarterback, you've got to be able to pattern read, match up with guys in space. They have the perfect athletes designed for this defensive scheme put together by Dick LeBeau.
Obanaya is in the game. First down and 10. It's Hillis, wrapped up by Brett Kiesel. What a terrific season he's had. A gain of a yard on the play to the 35. Well, we just got this update. Baltimore has had a touchdown scored on them. Bengal running back Bernard Scott, a 25-yard touchdown run. It's a 17-10 game, and that's a look right now. New England captured the number 1 with the win today over Buffalo.
And the Bengals, if they lose that game to Baltimore, because the Jets lost earlier, Kevin, if either Denver or Oakland lose in their game today, the Bengals could still get into the postseason. And right now, the Raiders and Denver are both trailing in their respective games.
It's 2nd down and 9. Good time for Wallace. Good looking catch by Cribbs. Brought down by Ferrier. The diving reception for 21 at the 44 of the Pittsburgh Steelers. First down.
Cleveland Browns have had a losing record in 8 of their last 9 seasons. But every time we come and watch the Cleveland Browns play, Joshua Cribbs is making plays like this, or is returning a punt or a kickoff, or making plays on special teams. Look at that catch by Joshua Cribbs. Senator Wallace loves it. He needs someone to stand up and make a play for him. And you get the sense when they go into the draft this offseason, they're going to be looking for more playmakers like Joshua Cribbs.
Obanaya in the backfield. First down and 10. Wallace to the 24. He just got by James Harrison, who almost knocked him down back at the line of scrimmage. That's a 20-yard run. He had a 27-yard run earlier in the game.
It's what the Steelers fear the most. Harrison gets so far up the field as he starts to backtrack. He nips at the heels of Seneca Wallace. He's too quick, too fast, and athletic for them to keep him hemmed in. Harrison went too far up the field that time. He knows it, tried to retreat and come back, but it was a little too late working against the speedier Wallace.
Wallace is saying, you know what, I'm on display too. I'd like to become a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Absolutely, and preferably with this football team.
He said that earlier in the week. He said, I'm sad about Colt, but I got a chance to do something with my career, as he calls a timeout. That's the first burn by the Browns in the second half. 2:48 to play. Cleveland on the move. And Pittsburgh has a lead of 13-6. As we ring in the new year, we celebrate another hit season. And thank you for making CBS America's most watched network. 2.5 Men, all the great shows.
Putting on the hits, right?
Yes.
Just like this climactic NFL season, boy, this last week of games just doesn't end. A lot of cliffhangers, whether you're playing a game in Oakland, whether you're playing in Denver, or here in Cleveland or in Cincinnati. And what about that game tonight against the Giants and the Dallas Cowboys? It's winner take all in the NFC East.
It's great the way the NFL has always put these divisional matchups in the last couple weekends of the season. I mean, it just adds to the intrigue about who's going to win a division Who's in, who's out, who's going to be placed where.
And no one's resting players.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing it through, and that's what NFL fans deserve all across the National Football League.
Ontario Hardesty has come in the backfield, and he's healthy. It's just for the number 2 pick out of Tennessee a couple years ago, the fact that Hillis is now healthy and playing well as a running back himself. Here's a 1st and 10 after the 20-yard run by Waltz. Chased, deflected, incomplete. I think Ziggy Hood on that defensive line got a hand and ricocheted the ball away. Let's go to New York and James Brown.
Coattailing on your points, NFL fans are getting a good one in Cincy.
Well, the Steelers fans are going to be very happy to see this. This is going to be Bernard Scott. He's going to go around the left side, 25 yards, 17-10 Ravens. Remember, if the Ravens lose to the Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh would then be the number 2 seed in the AFC.
To use your word, Kevin, intrigue continues. Back to Kevin and Solly.
You're telling me everyone in Pittsburgh is rooting for the Cincinnati Bengals? That's out of the norm, isn't it?
It doesn't make sense. 2nd down and 10. Wallace, look out. Here they come. Down he goes. Ryan Clark comes up with his first sack of the season. This is the leading tackler, and he's going to become the first Steeler safety to lead the team in tackles since the records were kept going back to 1980.
Coming off the corner, look at this. Goes right around Evan Moore, and it's just sheer hustle and determination. The bigger Evan Moore can't stay with Ryan Clark. He brought his son into the meeting. His 10-year-old son, Jordan, came in. And the kid had as much swagger as his dad, didn't he?
Great kid.
Very confident kid.
How smart was Clark, though, to talk to? What a tactician. 3rd and 16, loss of 6 on that play. Back to the 31 for Seneca Wallace out of Iowa State. Oh, it was almost a great catch by the rookie tight end, Jordan Cameron. There is a flag down at the 37-yard line.
What coverage by Timmons.
It was great. That linebacker was moving well. Timmons a good one. Earned his spot to start.
Holding number 66, offense. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
That is Sean Laval. See, they declined it. Now gives him a chance to try the field goal with the wind at his back.
And there's the pass. You can see Timmons raking at the arms, just clawing, trying to get that ball out of the hands of Jordan Cameron. You can see in good position, good trail technique, just trying to shield the tight end from the football.
Ryan Monday and Isaac too back in that secondary. So they could have, by declining it, they give him a chance for a 49-yard field goal. I don't understand this, do you?
With the wind
at their back.
That's
what I'm saying, and he's already kicked one today and made it from 45. This from 49. And right down the middle of Main Street. But a curious call by the Pittsburgh Steelers. 3 more on the board for Cleveland. A 49-yard field goal. The last of 3 kicked by the 13-year veteran Phil Dawson. Well, tomorrow, bring in the new year with America's best night of comedy. Watch new episodes of How I Met Your Mother, 2 Broke Girls, 2.5 Men, and Mike and Molly. Only on CBS. Hope you've had a safe and enjoyable New Year's Eve and afternoon. We thank you for joining us here from Cleveland, where they're expecting, they say, between 6 and 12 inches of snow and blizzard-like conditions beginning late tonight, lasting into Tuesday.
Now, as we get close to the 4th quarter, I go back to that field goal, and I think the Pittsburgh Steelers should have taken the penalty, should have knocked the Cleveland Browns further away. And Mike Tomlin, we talked about it, being young coaches. We were talking about Coach Shermer being in his first year. Mike Tomlin says, you know, I enjoyed the chess match. He said, but some things you can't prepare for. All of it is by gut and by feel. I think he's looking at the scoreboard. I think he's thinking maybe I should have taken the penalty. Now, he's going to live with it because he's that kind of coach. He's not going to live with regret. But I think if he had a chance to do it again, he would have taken the penalty and pushed him further back.
I would guess, too, we're going to see some Hines Ward on this. He's only 2 receptions away from 1,000 for his career. And with the uncertainty, of course, for any veteran, especially one like Ward, who has played in the NFL 14 years, lost his starting position, you just don't know what a new year might bring. Dawson's kick and the electrifying Antonio Brown from the goal line. Cribbs again. Josh Cribbs is worth every penny he makes. A lot of respect there. A lot of respect for James Brown, too, as we go to New York.
Well, Kevin, well, thank you so much. A lot of respect today for San Diego.
Well, they say the same thing about me, Kevin. Rivers, 13-yard TD. That's 2 on the day thus far. They go up 31-16. If Oakland loses, Denver and Cincinnati automatically get into the playoffs.
As Kevin and Solly knows, Boomer will make sure he's complimented. Back to Kevin.
All I know is Boomer is that horse we ride on Monday Night Football.
That's my quarterback. We rode him to a Super Bowl as well. You get a lot of mileage out of Boomer, though.
That's right. He wears a lot of hats. From the 21, 1st and 10, Redmond. Nice block by Wallace. And then you can see he's devoured by DeQuell Jackson, who is the second leading tackler in the NFL. It is a gain of 3 from the 24. This Jackson is a great story. He had missed 26 games in the last 2 years with a torn pectoral muscle. He has come back this year. And really, if not for the great comeback of Mike Vick, this might be the guy. Or even Stafford, the quarterback for the Detroit Lions. That might be your comeback player of the year in the NFL. He has had a terrific season. And part of the future with this Cleveland Brown defense. The number 10 defense in the NFL, 2nd down and 7 from the 24. Grabbed right there, 30-yard line. Hines Ward brought down by Jackson, gain of 6. He is 1 away from 1,000.
You can see the last 3 possessions with Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback, what this offense has done. And so while they weave Hines Ward into the game plan, they've still been productive on those last 3 possessions where they've scored on each and every one of them.
Third and 1. A couple of tight ends. Clay in the backfield. This goes to Redmond. Oh, nothing there. Great stop. Sheared 97. 92, Jamie Mitchell. They close the door. Nothing there. And the Steelers have got to punt the ball. Three out.
Yeah, Mike Holmgren and this Cleveland Browns football team, they drafted well last year. I know people locally have questioned the draft picks, but you see Mitchell knifing in. Jabral Sheard is a rookie. Phil Taylor on this defense, and they rank in the top 10 in the National Football League. I would say that's doing pretty well.
The 4-11 Browns hanging tough. The 11-4 Steelers on top at the end of 3 on CBS. Pittsburgh Steelers are going to punt here as we start the 4th quarter from Cleveland, where the wind has been the story. We thought there'd be more rain than this. It was predicted, but it has been relatively dry. Just a few sprinkles here and there. The punt by Campanos. Cribbs with an 84-yard punt return touchdown last week is drilled by John Clay. A 12-yard return. A flag has been thrown. It was a 49-yard punt by Campanos, who's out of Penn State, and Alberto Riveron. Last season, every member of this crew was awarded with a postseason assignment.
During the return, holding number 21 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
It's Dimitri Patterson. And Seneca Wallace will take his offense, getting the last bit of warmth on the sideline. He's been running like crazy today, keeping Cleveland in it, down 13-9. Pittsburgh Steeler defense today is at Polamalu with an interception. We've had a sack by Timmons. We thought there was a sack by Polamalu back in the first half. At halftime, they changed it from a sack to just a loss in the play. Does have an interception. First down and 10 here for Seneca Wallace. And the catch made by Massaquoi. Gain of 5. Coverage on the play by Gay.
Oh, the Steelers come in with the league's #1 ranked defense, and they have proven to do just that. They have had a couple of sacks on the mobile, nifty Seneca Wallace, and then the interception by Troy Polamalu. It starts with pressure up front, the ability to corral Seneca Wallace and get him on the ground. Dick LeBeau, this defense having a tough time keeping the mobile Seneca Wallace hemmed in the tackles, but look at that. They're not giving up a lot of yards, and obviously not a whole lot of points either.
The Hall of Famer Dick LeBeau. 2nd down and 5. Good block by Thomas, knocked away by Kiesel, who Thomas was blocking. This guy has had a terrific season. 10-year veteran, maybe the best year of his decade career. Brett Kiesel out of BYU.
Yeah, Mike Holmgren ought to remember Brett Kiesel because it was in Super Bowl 40 against Seattle where he made a name for himself, coming in for Kimo von Oelhoffen, and all he's done ever since then, after winning the starting job, is anchor this defensive line, because Aaron Smith was a veteran guy who kind of taught him the game, but with Smith being missing in so many games and finishing his previous seasons on IR, Brett Kiesel's been the mainstay as the veteran member of that defensive line.
3rd down and 5. Hillis. There he is again. He's always strips the ball. Goes out of bounds. Loss
on cue
of 2. When he came and visited with us last night, he wears hats now with that bearded face as its emblem on the top of the hat. Pretty nifty.
He praised, of course, the opportunity to play for Dick LeBeau. Says he's played for the same defensive line coach for 10 years here in Pittsburgh. Talked about the stability and said, you know, it takes 3 or 4 years to learn this complicated defense. So, yeah, we have older guys, but we all can play on this defense.
Maynard the punt. Fair caught by Brown at about the 40 on a 35-yard punt. The Steelers on top, 13-53. We had a 3-and-out by the Cleveland Browns. Fair caught at the 41-yard line by Antonio Brown. There's Seneca Wallace. Takes a look at the Polaroids from upstairs. It is 1st and 10 for Ben Roethlisberger. Redmond at his side. Hines Ward, that is a pass. And that is number 1,000 on the shuttle pass to, he loses 3, and he'll keep the ball. And that ball and that guy will be someday in Canton, Ohio, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Congratulations to one of the great professionals in the history of the NFL, Hines Ward.
Mike Tomlin said that Hines Ward is a blueprint for professionalism. He's been a selfless leader in a year where, you said it, Kevin, he's lost his starting job, but still serve as a good example for work ethic and professionalism for those young wide receivers on this team.
And apropos that he would get it from Roethlisberger, who has been so much a part of that record. 2nd down, 13. Antonio Brown with the catch. You better believe it. The coverage by Screen and Adams. They call it a reception at the 49 at Cleveland. 13-yard pickup.
It's a sliding catch. It's a back shoulder deal. Look to Brown. Look, he's falling down. It's caught right on his hip, and they couldn't even get it out. The ball never touched the ground. This kid is playing lights out, Kevin.
You know, apropos, 1 minute it's... They're going to challenge it. The red flag has been thrown out by Pat Shurmur, the first-year head coach of the Cleveland Browns, challenging the catch.
They're going to say the ball touched the ground. I don't know that it did.
Cleveland is challenging a ruling on the field of a completed pass. Timeout.
We're going to take a look at it. Of course, when we come back, we'll give you all the looks at it here in Cleveland. Is this a catch for Antonio Brown? We'll take a look when we come back. We return to Cleveland. We'll see that this is indeed a catch. We have clear, visible evidence. This ball never touched the ground. It's very close. Look at the point of the ball. Inches away from grass, but Antonio Brown is able to haul it in, even though he's draped by the defender. It just clings to that one arm and that hip.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a catch. The player gains possession of the ball never hits the ground, and he is touched. The result of the play is a 1st down. Cleveland will be charged with their 2nd timeout.
Antonio Brown, he's showing that he earned the right to go to the Pro Bowl in Hawaii. He'll get to play some wide receiver in that game. He's the 5th wide receiver on the AFC side in the Pro Bowl, but certainly made it as a return guy.
It's 1st and 10. Redmond takes, and he fumbled the ball. It's loose. And it's vacuumed in by the Browns. The first turnover for the Pittsburgh Steelers today. Grabbed by rookie Eric Haig. A flag is down at the 44. On a fumble by Isaac Redmond.
You got to ask yourself, did he get it all the way? See, Ben has to extend himself. So, okay, he got it in. He's got to hold on to it. He's hit by Chris Goldtong, number 51.
By Cleveland. After the change of possession, personal foul, face mask on Pittsburgh. 15 yards from the end of the run, automatic first down.
Yeah, Ben was able to get it into the belly of Isaac Redmond, and he's got to hold on to it. But Chris Goldtong comes in and lays a lick on Redmond just as he starts to secure the ball. The ball comes out after Goldtong laid the lick on it, and Haig was able to come away with the return. Or I should say the recovery.
Fumbling has not been an issue with Redmond this season. Mendenhall, as we've told you, is out with the knee suffered early in the game. Hardesty is in the backfield, 1st and 10 from the Pittsburgh 43. Dropped, incomplete, Jordan Cameron, the tight end. It'll be 2nd down and 10 for Cleveland.
Seneca Wallace, this Cleveland Browns football team, they don't come up with a lot of turnovers, but when you get it, you've got to turn it into points. And what if we told you they're a touchdown away from taking the lead in this ball game here in the 4th quarter?
Keenan Lewis will check in the game as an extra defensive back for the Steelers. 2nd down and 10. Hardesty, he breaks 1 tackle. That was Lewis, and he flies into the grasp of Harrison, and no gain on the play. They stay at the 43.
Look at Hardesty. You can see 22 William Gay coming off the corner, head in front, but Hardesty spins out of it. And Gay came in the right way. You got to get your head in front to make that tackle, but that spin move by Hardesty freed him from the tackle, but the swarming defenders along with Harrison making plays defensively.
Thank you for the correction. It was not Lewis, it was William Gay having a career year. Lost the starting role last year, took it back from McFadden after week 1. 3rd down and 10. That is on the money, and it's caught by the wide receiver Mohamed Massaquoi. An 11-yard gain by number 11 on 3rd and 10. It's a 1st down. They'll put him at the 32.
Now watch, Seneca Wallace did a really good job reading the defense. They were trying to double on the strong side slot to Greg Little. He goes opposite and found the one-on-one coverage. Gay matched up against Mohamed Massaquoi. Makes the throw and the catch for 1st down.
We just got word that Peyton Hillis has got a knee injury, so he is questionable with his return. Hardesty in the backfield, 1st and 10 for Seneca Wallace. Hardesty, nice hit, beautiful hit there by Ryan Clark. Leads him in tackles. He'll be the first safety to lead this team in franchise and tackles since '80, a loss of 2.
Well, he and Jason Worrells, they shut it down. You can see Worrells goes upfield, comes back, but Clark is just so good at diagnosing plays, and he's always in the right position at the right time. Every defense should have a safety like Ryan Clark.
This is the number 1 secondary, by the way, in pass defense in the NFL. Number 9 run defense. 2nd down and 12. Whoops. Massaquoi with the drop. He has had a very disappointing career so far. Former 2nd-round pick out of Georgia, incomplete.
Well, he's matched up against Brian McFadden. He comes wide open. Yes, the ball's thrown a bit behind him. You've got to make this catch. Look, McFadden, he's stumbling. He can't stay in coverage. And you've got to be anticipating that when you're that wide open, the ball's going to come out. Now just throttle down in the zone and make the catch.
And it was
be very disappointing for Coach Sherman.
It was thrown in back of him, but it was very catchable.
Very catchable. And he was so wide open.
Yep.
There was no coverage on Mohamed Massaquoi.
3rd down and 12. Here comes Worlds. There goes Wallace. Here comes Ferrier, and there goes the pass. All right, let's go to New York. Big news with our James Brown.
All right, Kevin, Baltimore getting a little breathing room.
JB, after a Jermaine Gresham fumble inside of Baltimore territory, here comes Ray Rice. He's going to go for 51 yards. Remember earlier in the game, he went for 70 yards and a touchdown. Baltimore spreads the lead out 24-13.
Kevin, and solid.
Rice is all over that game.
Bad news for people in Pittsburgh who was hoping the Cincinnati Bengals could help them out, because if the Steelers should win here today and Baltimore lose, Pittsburgh would win themselves the division title.
Maynard with Antonio Brown deep back. Hunts the fair catch, signals for it at the 14-yard line. That was a 19-yard punt. 10:08 to play. Steelers in control. Hey fans, keep your fantasy football season going with the playoff challenge and compete against the nation for a chance to win $5,000. Sign up now at cbssports.com/challenge. Roethlisberger remains. That is snow. And it has just started. 1st and 10. After the Cleveland punt. This is our man John Clay, who was signed off the practice squad when Mewelde Moore, and the flag is thrown, when Mewelde Moore was injured and Jonathan Dwyer went on the injured reserve. They brought this kid up. He's familiar with the system. He's a first-year player out of the University of Missouri.
Holding, number 82, offense. Half the distance of the goal, 1st down.
Wesley Saunders, the tight end, rookie free agent himself. Like Clay. I said Missouri, University of Wisconsin for Clay, excuse me. University of Wisconsin. He was a Badger. And that is not a good sign. Who is that? That's David Johnson. They've lost a defensive back today, Cortez Allen, shoulder injury. And there is Ramon Foster. He is down. Mendenhall left with an unspecified knee injury early in the game. And we have gone to as many people as possible try to get an update. We have not gotten one. So Johnson is there. Foster is there. In the locker room is Allen, and in the locker room, Mendenhall for the Pittsburgh Steelers today.
And remember, coming into this game, Marquise Pouncey less than 100% with an injury. Ben Roethlisberger, we've already documented and explained how banged up he is. You know, if there was a team that was in need of a bye week going into the postseason, it would be the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Here comes our friend Trey Essex. He'll take the place of Foster. He was playing center last week. Got the game ball, did Trey Essex. He had just become the left guard. And the interesting thing for Essex, he wasn't re-signed by Pittsburgh until after the start of the season. But here he is, invaluable as a utility man, and with the penalty, 1st and 17 for Roethlisberger. Clay in the backfield. John Clay. They douse him after a gain of 2. He spins his way to the 10 and hit on the play by Austin English out of Oklahoma.
And watch the way this defense is playing. Watch Javal Shear, 97, tees off, knifing into the backfield, and he smacks Clay. And then he's backed up by the other host of defenders. They're playing with great emotion. They have the Pittsburgh Steelers offense backed up to this dog pound, and the fans are really getting into it.
For the Browns, this is their playoff game against their rival, the Steelers. 2nd down and 15. Clay and corkscrewing his way to about the 16-yard line. Taba Rubin is there as the snow begins to really fall. That is a gain of 6.
And you can tell the fans here in Cleveland, they absolutely love it. They love the snow starting to fall here a little bit. The temperatures are starting to drop. And they're cheering on the snow. They're cheering on their defense. And they know that this could be the beginning of something good for the 2012 season.
The wind is at the back of Roethlisberger. 3rd down and 9. Incomplete. Flag is down. They were going for Cotchery. The flag will go on Buster Skrine, the rookie from Chattanooga.
Skrine got there early.
Pass interference, number 22 on the defense. The ball will be played to the spot of the foul. Automatic 1st down.
And Solomon, it was on 3rd and 9.
Yeah, and if Skrine would have just played the ball, I think he would have had himself an interception. All he had to do was just take a better angle to intercept the ball by coming underneath Cotchery. Could have had his hands on it.
For those of you expecting to see 60 Minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS, the game between the Steelers and the Browns. It's a 13-9 Pittsburgh lead. 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety following this broadcast, except in the West Coach. And this is Clay, who is hit and brought down by Jabal Sheard out of Pitt. Sheard was born in the city of Pittsburgh, grew up a Steeler fan, played at Pitt. Gain of 2 right there.
Well, they're getting the best out of Sheard in this game. He has been phenomenal. And every time you put the tape on, every time you watch him play, he shows up as a playmaker on this defense.
Give him a gain of 3 to the 29. 2nd down and 7. Cleveland 1 timeout. Steelers 3. Pittsburgh has scored a 7-yard touchdown run by Redmond. Couple field goals. Clay and jump on his back and riding him down. Jamie Mitchell. He started the last 3 games now. No gain on the play for Clay.
And if you're paying attention to what's going on in Cincinnati, 24-16. The Cincinnati Bengals just kicked the field goal, but the Baltimore Ravens still lead in that game.
Last I heard, Kansas City was leading Denver, and the Raiders were getting pummeled by San Diego. It's 3rd down and 7. 6 defensive backs for the Cleveland Browns. On the money. Catch made by Kotcher. Tackle made by Mike Adams. Gain of 10 on 3rd and 7. They'll put the ball at the 39. That's a 1st down.
Ben Roethlisberger moving around and throwing the ball very well in this game. And look at him. He's not moving as gracefully as he once did, but when it comes time to cut it loose and throw it, the accuracy is there. So the mobility has been hampered by the injury, but it hasn't affected his accuracy.
Kotcher has 3 catches today. Remember, he was limited the first half of the season with a hamstring, and he's picked up his health and picked up his game against San Francisco on Monday at 5 catches, 93 yards. 1st down and 10. This is Redmond finding a hole and into the secondary. Brought down by Hayden, a fumble. He's fumbled once. Was it a fumble there?
Looks like Gilbert may have it. I saw 77 pounds on it, but the ball was definitely out.
It's a 21-yard return and wipe it because Cleveland has just gotten the 2nd fumble by running back Isaac Redmond.
Wow. Redmond fumbles the ball twice here in the 4th quarter. When the Pittsburgh Steelers were moving, an excellent run, and there you can see Usama Young, 28, punches it out, and that's why I thought Gilbert had it, 77, but they're able to pry the ball away from him. You can see Jackson, and there's Hayden. Now watch 28, watch Usama Young. Comes along and starts poking away at the ball. This is incredible. And only because Isaac Redmond refuses to concede, even with 4 Brown defenders draped all on him. Sometimes you have to just go down and live to fight another day. Bruce Arians is saying, hey, great run, good decision. But at the end there, priority number 1 has to be protecting the ball as opposed to fighting for yet another yard.
Well, we told you he had not a fumbling problem this year. He has not fumbled at all until today. Walking off slowly there is Usama Young, who they got as a free agent, thought he might start, and then holding on to the job was Adams. So, with 1 timeout, under 6 to play, the Browns have it at their 39-yard line, and they got it 1st and 10. Hillis is in, bad knee and all. Cribbs. He's brought down immediately by Ike Taylor on the quick slant, giving him 10 at the 49. 1st down.
Well, I can't talk enough about how much Ike Taylor has improved as a player. And yeah, he gives up this slant route to Josh Cribbs, but he goes bump and run just about every play. He's looking to really take plays away. He's, as you said at the top of the show, he's the best corner on the number 1 ranked pass defense.
Here's a 1st and 10 looking for Massaquoi. The coverage on the near side by Bryant McFadden right in front of his own bench. Clark was there as well. Finishing up housekeeping on Cribbs. His 6th reception today, and that is a career high.
You see Pat Shermer want the quick pass plays, working outside against the corners. Feel like they have a matchup advantage. You saw the slant to Joshua Cribbs against Ike Taylor. We saw Muhammad Massaquoi beat Brian McFadden earlier, coming wide open. I have to wonder if they isolate on McFadden because they were able to get open earlier, and now McFadden is matched up against Josh Cribbs. Got to believe Cribbs can win out there.
Into 5 defensive backs, 2nd down and 10. Oh, he's almost picked off. It was right there going to Massaquoi. And in the hands and through the hands of William Gay.
Sometimes you have to pick the best matchup advantage. Is it with Massaquoi going over here against William Gay? Because Gay jumps this one and should have caught it and should have had himself an interception.
Yeah, played a little defensive back there, didn't he?
Absolutely. I thought he should have come clear to the other side and went over to Joshua Cribbs, who was working against Brian McFadden.
It's 3rd down and 10. Nice knock away there, Ike Taylor. That is why he is the #1 corner on the #1 pass defense in the NFL. He's had that kind of season.
Just a really good play, good bump and run coverage. He doesn't allow the free release by Greg Little. And then you see him knife underneath. Look at the right hand. And he won at the line of scrimmage. Look at him take a nice angle coming right underneath Little.
So the Browns can do nothing with the 2nd fumble today of Isaac Redmond. They're going to punt here with Brad Maynard. Into a stiff wind, and deep back is Antonio Brown inside the 15-yard line for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well placed at about the 10. And that is where the Steelers will start. 40-yard punt. They send Ben Roethlisberger back out there. And once again eyeing the AFC playoff picture.
It's a minute left in the Denver-Kansas City game. Kansas City is on top 7-3 in that ball game in Denver. But with the Raiders trailing the San Diego Chargers, if the Raiders lose and the Broncos lose to Kansas City, the Denver Broncos, Kevin, will still win the AFC West division. You got a lot of teams now in the AFC who looked strong at one point, sort of backing their way into the playoffs.
They'd win it at 8-8. It was just last year we saw a 7-9 Seattle Seahawks team out of the NFC West win the division and win in the playoffs. This is John Clay. And Rubin sitting on him to quell. Jackson got a hand on him. It's a gain of 2 to the 12. As the snow again intensifies.
Got some flurries that are coming in. This is what football is like in the AFC North, where all 4 teams boast a defense ranked in the top 10.
Here is yet another game where the Cleveland Browns have played hard after being an underdog. This is the 4th consecutive game they've played this well.
They played well. Now they've got to find a way to win.
2nd down and 8. Clay and Mayaba brings him down after a gain of 5. He's up to the 18-yard line. Again, we're seeing probably more Clay than Redmond. Redmond has put the ball on the ground twice today. First 2 fumbles of the season for Isaac Redmond, taking the place of the injured Mendenhall.
And as you mentioned, Clay is the rookie from Wisconsin. As you take a look at Isaac Redmond, he's been coached. He's been given the directives. Don't fumble the ball. Hold on to it. But right now it's going to be John Clay. And when you get rookies at big games like that, boy, like this one, you got to really be careful.
Weldy Moore inactive today because of the sprained MCL. 3rd down and 3. Where there was a nice block up front, and that is caught by Heath Miller. Miller has now just passed Lynn Swann for number 4 all-time in Steeler receptions. A gain of 11. It's a 1st down for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And Ben Roethlisberger has been masterful on 3rd down in this game today. 8 of 15. This is the 8th time he's converted. 3rd down conversion, going to his always reliable tight end Heath Miller. I think one of the more underrated tight ends in the NFL, because just as good as you saw him in the receiving game, he's even better at the line of scrimmage blocking.
1st and 10. Cleveland 1 timeout. Pittsburgh with 3. And that is Clay lumbering his way to about the 31 on a gain of 2.
Well, 2 fourth-quarter fumbles by Isaac Redmond has kept the Pittsburgh Steelers from blowing this game wide open. You can see Chris Gokon punches one out. Then Usama Young is able to get one out from Isaac Redmond on the last 2 possessions here in the fourth quarter, where the Pittsburgh Steelers offense was presumably moving the ball, looking as if they were getting ready to score. And you can see on those 2 takeaways, the Steeler defense has been up to the task because they've not allowed any points off those 2 turnovers. As Isaac Redmond throws on the coat, you have to wonder if he's going to get another chance to carry the football in this game.
It doesn't look like it, does it? 2nd down and 8. Timeout taken by Cleveland. They have just burned their final timeout. The Steelers will bus back to Pittsburgh tonight. Cleveland will start organizational meetings this week. Mike Holmgren and Pat Shermer.
I asked Pat Shermer, does the evaluation process start in these final games knowing that you've been eliminated from the playoffs? He says, no, I don't turn the page on this season until our final game is done.
And 2nd down and 8. And bulldozing his way with Rubin. Getting one of the shots at him. 37-yard line, a gain of 6 for John Clay.
The lake effect snow starting to come into Cleveland Brown Stadium. Pat Shermer, and they're going to be armed with a lot of draft picks this offseason, Kevin, to get the kind of talent that they want in order to become a real player in the AFC North Division.
Steelers can let this run to the 2-minute warning. Yeah, they do have a lot of picks, don't they?
Yeah, they have 2 first-round picks coming up in the 2012 draft. 1 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, and then 2 fourth-round picks.
2-minute warning. Steelers leading 13-9. With the 2-minute warning, it'll be 3rd down and 2 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have scored in a Redmond 7-yard touchdown run, a couple of field goals. Redmond is injured, Redmond has fumbled the ball twice today. Mendenhall got injured early on. Injured a knee. Has not returned since. 3rd and 2. John Clay is in the backfield. Roethlisberger, 221 passing yards today. No time, yeah. Play clock is run down. Timeout taken by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've now got 2 remaining.
Well, they burned that timeout. I know Ben didn't want to. All they need to do is snap the ball. Cleveland's out of timeouts, and so they could get 1 first down here and presumably take the rest of the time off the clock. And boy, these Cleveland Browns, they do bring their best against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can see DeQuell Jackson going into the huddle. Remember 3 weeks ago, they lost in Pittsburgh on a Thursday night. 14-6 was the final. This game's even closer than that one.
After the first timeout by the Pittsburgh Steelers, they've got 2 left, 3rd down and 2. And knocked away. Beautiful defense that time by Joe Hayden. 4th down and 2. Hayden stepping right in front of the wide receiver, Antonio Brown. And they're going to punt. Steelers are going to punt. 1:57 to play.
Told you Joe Hayden's one of the better corners. He continues to compete. And where Antonio Brown was winning some of the early battles, Joe Hayden wins here on a crucial 3rd down play.
So Cabanos with the wind at his back. Cribbs inside the 20 at the punt return touchdown last week against Baltimore of 84 yards. From the 14, Cribbs. He fumbles it as he's knocked toward the sideline, 25-yard line. 49-yard punt with an 11-yard return. Baltimore has won, and they are officially the number 2 seed in back of number 1 seed New England, who won earlier today against Buffalo.
And because Denver loses to Kansas City, the return of Kyle Orton, he helps the Cincinnati Bengals get into the playoffs. Even though time has expired in Cincinnati, they lose to Baltimore, but yet they get the number 6 seed in the AFC playoff picture. Wow. So the Pittsburgh Steelers will be locked in with that number 5 seed as a result of Baltimore winning in Cincinnati. Pittsburgh will not get a weekend off. They'll host the wild card game next week.
There is no injury timeout and a runoff because of it, because it was a injury on the play and a change of possession. And so the Browns will have it 1st and 10 at their own 24. Each quarterback has been sacked twice today. Wallace has had some huge runs. One of 27 and one of 20 yards. 1st and 10. Grab by Evan Moore. Tackle made by Timmons. It's a pickup of 8. The gain to the 32. 2nd down and 2. Cleveland, no timeouts.
Ball just whipped out to Moore. Watch Polamalu. Watch Timmons. Just driving right into the ground. Ball comes out.
Seneca Wallace. Niftily moving. Cripps dropped the ball. Incomplete. McFadden was covering.
Remember, as you take a look at the score, Cleveland could score a touchdown here, presumably win this game. And right now, I'm sure the Pittsburgh Steelers, whether they know the score in Cincinnati or not, they continue to play hard. I think Mike Tomlin said, and we talked about the playoff picture, he said, we've had 16 opportunities to prove where we belong in the playoffs. We make no excuses.
It's 3rd down and a long one. Great catch by Cripps. Big time hit by McFadden. It's a gain of 2. He's got the 1st down to the 35.
McFadden was in great position to even make a play on the ball. Not sure he saw it, even though he times up the hit well. There it is. Good catch by Cripps.
1st down and 10. Here comes Harrison. Another drop. Massaquoi. And covered by a linebacker on the play. It's incomplete.
You got to wonder if Massaquoi just positioning himself appropriately to be able to haul in the ball. He's had balls hit right off his hands, right there. He's drifting away from the ball, not to the ball, to be able to haul it in.
William Gay in coverage. Linebacker had him initially, then Gay finished him off on the sideline. 2nd down and 10.
And the snow was rolling in strong enough.
Wallace, Evan Moore out of bounds, close to a 1st down. It is a catch and run of 10 to the 45. Moving the chains. 1st down, clock as you see stopped at 41, and the Browns are out of timeouts.
And you notice all these throws are going outside toward the numbers. That's where they're looking to make some plays. You get the sense, knowing this defense the way I do from Dick LeBeau, and Coach Sherman knows the same. You throw the ball over the middle. That's where these fire zones can really haunt your quarterback. You'll never see them, and they'll pick you clean.
Well, you played for LeBeau, didn't you?
And I know it all too well, Kevin.
1st and 10. There's a wide open receiver. That's caught by Carlton Mitchell. 1st catch today, 3rd of the season. An 18-yard catch. He's down to the Steeler 36. No timeouts. 1st and 10. Clocking the ball with the spike. It'll be 2nd down and 10. And 22 seconds and into the wind to go.
How about Seneca Wallace knowing what to do on that play? Finding a receiver open against these fire zones. Look right inside of Timmons as he curls right in underneath, in between Timmons and Ferrier. Does he find his receiver open and then gets up to clock the ball? Good throw, good catch. And remember, just before halftime last week, Seneca Wallace didn't handle himself or handle the game management as well as he's handling it right here.
Timeout
Pittsburgh.
This is their 2nd. This won't be a 30-second timeout.
With 22 to play and a 2nd down and 10 coming up. Remember, he spiked the ball on 1st down, and now he gets it on 2nd down at the 36-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
How about this? Mike Tomlin said he had planned to get some of his guys out of this game. He had planned on pulling a Ben Roethlisberger. He talked about taking Harrison and taking Polamalu out of the game. He said, but I don't have a plan. It's a gut feeling. I'll know when it's the right time. Well, They're trying to preserve this lead. They're trying to come away with a win with 22 seconds. No, they're going to see it through for 4 quarters.
Cleveland came in at 4-11, and if they would lose this game, they would be assured the number 5 drafting spot. If they win, anywhere from 6 to 9. Took over the 24, 146 left, 8th play of the drive, 2nd down and 10. That's caught by Amendola, dragged down from behind by Timmons.
But he didn't get out of bounds.
He did not. 11-yard pickup. They're going to have to clock it right here. Spike the ball. They get a first down. 24-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 10. 5 seconds to play.
What a play by Timmons.
It was.
He makes the tackle before Moore can get out of bounds. It's one thing to give up the catch. Here you see Timmons, 94. But watch this tackle. Him not allowing Evan Moore to get out of bounds, it was critical. Because now it forces them to burn and eat time off the clock. And with 5 seconds to go, if you're Seneca Wallace and the Cleveland Browns, you got to take a shot at the end zone. That's just good, smart defense by Lawrence Timmons.
You see the play clock. Timeout, Pittsburgh. It's their final timeout.
Yeah, they got to look at the formation. Now they get to call a timeout and make sure they get a line the way they want.
And because we may exit very quickly and send most of you out to that Oakland-San Diego game, just kind of cleaning up some things here. Hines Ward caught a pass that gave him 1,000 for his career. Roethlisberger passing for enough yards to go for over 4,000 for the season. We have had a touchdown run by Isaac Redmond after the injury to Mendenhall to his knee. A couple of field goals. 3 field goals by Cleveland. 13-9 is where we stand right now. With the win, the Steelers would go to 12-4. It will come down to one last play. Second down and 10. Incomplete. Game is over. Steelers have won. They go to 12-4 and get ready for the postseason. The Browns fall to 4-12 in a hard-fought game in blustery conditions on the shores of Lake Erie.
Oh, they had it lined up the way they want it. Now it's about playing the ball. Make sure, more than anything, you knock the ball down. Make sure it hits the ground. And there you can see Polamalu spiking the ball down, going up over the top of William Gay. And the key is to get as many defenders there as you have white jerseys. And look at all the black jerseys swarming around. 4 defenders for 2 potential receivers for Cleveland.
There's our final score. Happy New Year, everyone. A good one in Cleveland today.
All right.
Mike Tomlin and his Steelers are headed for the postseason. Cleveland is headed to the offseason. For Solomon Wilcox, Kevin Harlan saying so on from Cleveland. Right now, we take you to our CBS studios in New York.